Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Red EDC and welcome to another edition of Channel Chat. And you can see the sticker on the table. You know who's with me. Yes, it is my good buddy Brad from Mild Mannered EDC. How you doing, brother?
JB, I'm doing awesome. How are you, man? Thanks so much for reaching out to me on this. This was made my evening, so
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here with you.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I ain't talked to Brad in a while, man. Just actually had a.
Well, it's funny because we're so close,
I
and
know
I mean, location-wise, and then and then
that's
we
so
just kind of get in
crazy.
our own worlds, and it's like, oh, I'll see you on a
Yeah.
live or something like that. But
Right.
I
And I'm
know
just like,
this.
I'm gonna hit up Brad. And I was like, well, heck, you know what? We both like talking about knives. We both talk about knives on our channel. I was
Yeah,
like,
once in a while we mention knives.
yeah, yeah. So I was like, you know what? Let's do a channel chat. Let's BS about some knives and have a good time. So
Sounded awesome to me.
right
So
on.
and
Very
it's good to
good.
catch up, regardless. Good to
It
catch up.
is. It
Yeah.
is. You're right. Like you said, it's we get in our worlds, and I know you're a busy guy a lot of times, and you know and the problem with with me, yeah, there's a problem with me, doggone it. No, I work nights, most people work days. So when you said you were available to do this tonight, I was like, awesome, because it can be hard scheduling and stuff, and I'm like, dude,
No, totally.
let's just sit down and have a BS and just have a
No,
good
yeah, no.
time.
I mean,
So
it was funny. I mean, I know when you we were, I was like, well, I know your schedule, and then I've got my schedule, and I'm a little busier than normal just with how my work is going right now. And
sure.
then you're like, so I was like, let's throw out some dates, and you're like, well, what about what about tomorrow evening? And I'm like, that actually is ideal.
Well, good.
Get
I'm
it
glad it
done.
worked.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
glad it
perfect.
worked out. It's not always that easy, trust
No, I'm
me.
sure not. No, it's funny. I was supposed to be did a podcast with Ray over at Everyday City Carry not too long ago,
Okay.
and we initially were going to do it. I think it was last Wednesday or something like that, or maybe the week before. I can't remember. I don't think it's aired. I don't think he's put it out yet.
I
But
don't think I've seen it.
yeah, I don't. Um, yeah, I don't think he's put it out yet. But we were going to do it on a Wednesday, and he's on the East Coast, right? So it was like the nine
Oh yeah.
o'clock
Yep.
o'clock out here for us on the on the West Coast, and literally it was like 15 minutes before he sent me the link and we were going to get going, and I just got inundated with crazy work stuff like last minute people
Yeah.
going, we need to do an emergency Zoom, and I'm just so we had to reschedule and pushed it out to Friday, but it worked just fine. But yeah, I mean,
That's good.
it's just the way it is. It's the way it is.
Yeah,
So
that's what I always tell, like when the kids were growing up and the boys, were starting to get out on their own. And the one thing I told them is, you can plan all day long, but sometimes life just gets in the way.
well
And and that's the best way I can put it, because things just happen, man.
well
It's
that's why we're EDCers, right? Isn't that that's our whole shtick, right? That you can't always be prepared for everything, but having a little something in your pockets to help you out through the day, you know,
you can't be prepared for everything, but by golly, you can be ready for something.
that's right. And there are certain things you know are going to go down just in case.
Yeah, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Cool. Well, man, did you I know we were kind of talking on Instagram earlier. Man, it
Mhm.
was some crazy rain up here. You guys having that too? I saw your pictures or your video.
It was insane. So I
I
literally,
know.
well, and it was funny, right? Because we've been having this weird, I mean, I assume you guys too, but this sort of weird off and on spring weather, right? Where it's like all of a sudden it's beautiful and warm, and you're going, oh man, maybe I need to get out and get the garden, squared away, and get some plants planted, and then it'll drop back down and get freezing. Typical Washington schizophrenic weather. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but then today, yeah, and so I'm like, it's rainy and windy and whatever. But I get over to the Fred Meyer, near where I live, and it just started. I mean, I just as I was about to get out of the car, and it was like monsoon season opened up, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna see if I can sit this out. I mean, I was that lazy. I was like, I don't feel like running in this rain, so I let it peter out for a little bit. But after a while, I just had to bite the bullet and
That's
get soaked
funny,
on.
man. It must have been something to do with grocery stores, because it did the same thing to me when I went to Safeway.
Seriously.
Oh yeah, the exact same thing. I pulled into Safeway. I'm like, man, it's kind of raining. I go to get out, and it's like wow, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna wait this out a minute.
Well, it's funny.
God,
So then
man.
yeah, I mean, so I leave Fred Meyer and I'm like, oh, I'll just run up to Costco. I got to make it, Sunday's sort of my errands day, right?
Right, right.
And I go to, and it was sort of, it took, I think you had responded to my post and said, oh, it looks like the sun's trying to come out. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it looks like it's doing that here. So then by the time I got up to Costco, though, it was already, raining sideways again. And I was like, to hell with this.
It's funny because when I said that, it was, it looked
No, I
like,
know.
and
It
I
did
was
the
like,
same thing here
oh,
for a little bit. Yeah.
okay, this could be good. And then there again, like 10 minutes later, I come upstairs for something. I walk by the front door and it's like you said, it's coming down sideways again. I was like, well, that didn't last long.
Yeah, no.
So, all
Yeah,
right.
well, that was funny. I saw a message from Zach who was like, he's like, oh no, I guess that means it's coming my way. I'm like, yeah, good luck, buddy.
Yeah, I hit him up. I hit him up too. And I was like, man, is it crazy down there? And he's like, no, but I think it's coming.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'll warn you. I'll keep you apprised of what's headed your way.
Yeah, no kidding.
So very cool.
Little nutty weather. Little nutty
Oh
weather.
man, I tell you what, and I think it's supposed to get down below freezing again the next couple of nights.
I know. See, and I know, and I don't know. I mean, I know you're a bit of a gardener, right? You have a bit of a green thumb out there,
Oh yeah, I
and
got some good stuff going.
I know you do. But this weather can be hard on it, right? Because then it gets that warm, and stuff starts to peek out of starts to bloom a little, or not bloom, but you get a
Oh,
little
trust
green in
me,
some of your plants,
dude, I
and
got
then you
stuff
just get
blooming.
shocked back into.
It's so funny because I got some little flowers, some little crocus that they start coming up
Oh yeah,
the end of December.
yeah, they'll
And I'm
pop
like,
right out the
oh,
snow.
you poor guys are
Yeah,
screwed.
yeah,
But I tell you what, man, they hang in there.
they do. They
They
do.
do, man, and it's
They do.
good. I was like, all right, well, I warned you. I warned you.
Yeah, I
So,
had to stop bulbs. We used to do bulbs a lot, but I had a beagle at one point, and that friggin' beagle would. I mean, he could every bulb he could find in the yard, he would dig up and try to eat. And it was like after like the third year, I was like, that's it, we're not doing bulbs anymore. And then we don't have the dog anymore. But it just I've never
by
gotten.
that time, you're done with it.
Yeah, but then I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
over it.
I hear you for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to have a huge tulip garden in the backyard, but I think it's right. Well, it's right by a gigantic freaking. I think it's a cedar, just a monster tree though, and I don't think the
Yeah.
soil is right because
Cedars.
for 2 years they were
Cedars.
beautiful.
Well, and cedars can kind of poison the ground around them.
Yeah, I'm pretty
I mean,
sure that's what happened.
yeah, they do that so they don't have to compete. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's mine. It's
Yes,
mine.
it's mine.
There can be only one.
Yes, that's right. No tulips, no puny tulips. Yeah, no, it's good.
Cool. I know when we were talking right before we started, man, the kids are back to school. That's good.
Yeah, they are. Both of them went back. Like I think we said, first time in about a year. I
Yeah.
think that we've had. It's been a little. It was a little strange. We weren't quite sure what to make of it and see how it would go. But our kids are actually in a smaller private school, and so they didn't have. They had actually been going back for a while. Well, the school had been open for a while,
Okay.
but both my wife and I were still working from home, and so we were like, you know what, we'll just keep them here and see what the numbers continue to do, and the same thing everybody else is doing. But and like I said, we're super fortunate to have jobs that let us do that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
A lot of
without a
people
doubt.
don't have that luxury, and so
Right.
we were really, really fortunate for that. But yeah, it just got to the point where the kid, and everybody's been talking about it, but kids, it's just not healthy for them to sort of be away from that social interaction and learning quite the same.
I know a lot of people homeschool, and that's great, but I think they miss out on that social interaction. And now I know a lot of people that homeschool, but then their kids play like organized sports,
Sure, right,
and that's good. That's a good thing.
right.
But I do agree with you. I think they miss out on a little bit of something.
Well,
And
especially, my kids are still a little younger. I mean, I have a second grader and a fifth grader, but particularly for the second grader, not being able to make those, friendships that you sort of make in your
sure,
early days of school that kind of carry forward with you. I mean, yeah, so all that stuff was very disrupted, and
sure.
so it's been great. They were really fantastic during the entire pandemic time. I mean, they were as resilient as any kids I came across. So we were I was really super proud of them for that. I mean, they really rolled with it pretty darn well.
That's
But
good. That's
I can
good.
definitely tell they're happy to be back at school. So it's a good thing.
Yeah,
So
right on. Well, good, good. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had to deal with that situation, but like you, we've got a lot of friends that are, you know,
yep.
and and we've had friends that not even pandemic related, but we have some friends that she works for a company in Seattle, but she works from home over here, and then when everything happened and now the kids are home, that was quite an adjustment because
Yeah.
now she's not only working, she's being mom, she's being teacher
Yeah.
all at the same time. And
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well, and
know,
I no, go ahead.
no, I was going to say she was actually, I think what they started doing for a little while is, her husband's in the military. So he was kind of, gone during the day or whatever. He would
Mm,
come home and she would basically work swing shift, if you would,
right.
from home,
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
and it's like that's basically how they pretty much had to make it work. And
Yeah. It's
it,
super challenging for. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's well, and it's funny too because you really start to realize your limitations, right? I mean, it's funny. So, I mean, both my parents were, at least for a big bulk of my childhood, were public school teachers, and
ah,
I can
yeah.
tell you one thing: that apple did not fall anywhere near my tree because trying to. I mean, I quickly realized that teaching is not my forte. So,
Well,
I'm sure
dude,
my kids are going to be behind forever because of me, but that's all right. They'll catch
trust
up.
me, and some of the ways they're teaching stuff today, like especially some of the
Oh,
math and stuff they're teaching,
oh,
I'm
don't even
like,
get me going.
I'm like,
Don't
what
even.
is that?
No, I literally would be watching YouTube videos from like MIT professors so that I could do basic fifth grade math, right? Where they're like, this is how we do that, because I'm like, I've never heard of this stuff. This
Just like
isn't math.
simple.
Why are you changing math? You can't change. Yeah, no,
The
it's
numbers don't lie.
right. What do you mean? You put all these arrows and you
I
borrow it.
know, I know.
Going, just do it this way. Well, we'll get it wrong if we do it this way. And I'm going, oh
And the
my.
diagonal or whatever the heck that was, I don't
Oh
even
yeah.
know, man. I don't even know. And I'm just like, no, stop.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
It's kind of funny though. My oldest, I don't know what I don't know what they were doing in school, but I don't know how old he was. He was probably in that fifth grade range at the
Mm.
time. And he was a terrible speller. And
I
they
still am a
basically,
terrible speller. No judgment from me on that.
okay, okay. He was basically, but they'd let him spell phonetically.
Oh, really? Okay.
Man, it screwed that boy up for life.
Yeah, that's probably not a gift. That's probably
I
not.
was, I
It
was
probably
like,
seemed like a good thing at the time, but yeah, it probably
I
doesn't
was
do
like, I was like, dude, he would write something. I was like,
it.
that's not how you spell that. I'm trying to help him out. And he's like,
Right.
they let me spell it that way in school. I'm like, they do what?
Yeah. It feels like you're not getting your money's worth a little bit
I
there,
was like,
right?
well, okay. All right. Well,
Does that work in math too? I can just
yeah, please. Yeah. What's the answer? 5.
yeah. That's the way they said I could do it.
5 is everything.
Yeah, no kidding.
That was
Yeah,
funny. I used to get in I used to get in trouble in grade school. I wasn't a bad
you,
boy. I wasn't a bad kid.
you,
Okay,
you.
let's set the
Oh,
record
okay.
straight.
All right, all right.
But I
I'm
don't
interested
know.
here.
There for a short period of time. It's done gone by now, but I used to be able I could do math. I mean, I'm not crazy math, but I could do math just like really simple in my head, you know.
Right, right.
So they'd say whatever plus whatever, and I just write the answer down. The teacher was like, "You have to show your work."
Yeah.
I was like, "How can I show you what's in my head?"
Well,
And that
you're
didn't
like
go
the
that didn't go
like
over
the
too
Goodwill
well.
Hunting kid or whatever, huh?
No, no, not quite. No, no. Like I said, that's long gone. That's long gone. I have to I have to take
That
my shoe.
superpower has left
Yeah,
you.
I have
Yeah.
to take my shoes off to count to 12. So it's long gone, long gone.
Yeah.
But shoot, man. So everything's been going good for you. Work's been busy. Family's good.
Yeah, it's everything's kind of clicking along. Like I said,
That's very
really,
good.
really fortunate. I'm glad, and yeah, and you too. It sounds like things are,
Yeah,
doing
things are
what
going
we're doing.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
things are going good. And it's like you were your channel just went over 2,000, man. That's awesome. Congrats,
Thank
brother.
you.
That's
No, I
great. That's
appreciate that.
great.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, even despite my, everything that I do to probably keep it from continuing to grow, it somehow manages to rope in a few more people here and there. But no, honestly though, yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things where, I mean, I'm never going to be the output king. I mean, I don't
Right.
just
Right.
because of just partly my style, but also partly just I've got other things going on.
Sure. Sure.
But yeah, I've tried to. I think I felt like I've got a little bit better kind of system laid out for this year that I'm going to try to stick to a little bit more. So hopefully
Cool.
I'll have some more videos, kind of on a little more regular basis for folks, and trying to mix it up with some other kind of stuff too, actually. So I've got actually a funny one coming up where I bought so I've been doing a lot of cooking, particularly during the pandemic, and
Okay.
really getting more into the cooking. My mom's a fabulous cook, but I've been getting more and more into it because we ate at home for so long, and just
Oh,
started
sure.
getting more elaborate and more risque with my with my cooking.
We got to mix
And
it up a bit. You got to mix it
you
up a
do,
bit.
you do, you
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so I've been dabbling a lot in Asian cuisine as well, because I really like Asian cuisine. So, but I finally went ahead. I mean, I figured as a knife guy, I was like, come on. I mean, at this point, so I did some research, and I picked up a true sort of Chinese cleaver, like cooking cleaver, and
Okay.
one of those big choppers.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I got to tell you, it's a whole different way to like cook
Uh-huh.
using that sucker. It's really neat. I mean, it's weird. It takes a little bit of a learning curve because it's like a totally different. So anyway, so I figured, it's a knife. Hell, I need to review this thing. I mean, it's sharp as the dickens. It's got like, I don't know, I'm a little far away. I'd grab it, but it's like, I was looking up the metal that they used. I mean, it's some kind of weird metal, but like 40, I think it's 40 CR or something like that, which means it's basically like pure chromium or something. I
Oh,
don't know.
really?
Yeah, so it's like it's basically impossible to rust or something, I think, at this point. But yeah, no, it's a fun little. So anyways, I mean, all that to say, I'm gonna do a fun kind of a funner, different review with of the Chinese cleaver that I picked up, and
Sweet.
yeah, it's just some fun stuff. But
Have
yeah,
you?
no, the channel's been a lot of fun, and it continues to be fun, and it's nice to see it continue to kind of creep up there. So
Yeah, no kidding, man. That's awesome. I tell you what, dude,
yeah.
have you ever watched any of those the YouTube videos and stuff with those guys when you're talking about those gigantic cleavers? But
Oh,
the minute, like paper thin cuts those guys do with those gigantic cleavers and stuff.
it's wild,
It
right? I mean,
is.
yeah, I mean, it's funny in some ways, the crossover between chefs and like us EDC people. You'd think there'd be more because some of the knife skills those chefs have is amazing. Yeah, it's
Oh, are
really
you kidding me? Yeah, they're like, I can't hold a candle to them. I mean, that's not
no,
even.
right. I mean, yeah, I'm not taking on an onion with my little penguin here. I mean, it's yeah, it's amazing what they can wield around. Yeah,
Dude,
some of the
you just whipped out the penguin, man. I got a red one on order from Drop, and I'm so waiting for that thing to come in because I want to send it to BJ and have
oh
him
yeah.
do his acid wash and acid etch and all he does to it because that looks so. I think it would look so good with that red.
I would agree with you. This is interesting. I didn't pick this up for a while. I picked up the Hawk not that long ago and did a review on that, which I liked. And I hadn't done a ton of QSP on the channel, although Finch knives, I know a lot of the Finch knives are QSP, but yeah, this was one that I kept getting kind of comments in this, hey, have you checked out a penguin? I'd love to see a review of and I know a bunch of people have done reviews on it. But yeah, it's an interesting knife. This one feels like it's got a little bit of a soft detent, and I might just be this particular knife, but I can definitely see why people are liking it. It's definitely got that cool,
That's carbon
warm blade.
fiber, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that stickery kind of stuff they use, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool little knife. Yeah.
I have a G10 one somewhere. It's out of reach at the moment, but I like it. I like it. It's a cool little knife. And I mean, for the price, I mean, it's hard,
Well,
you know.
no, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, even when I was like, well, the detent's not super gray, but I think I actually may need to clean her up just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, for the price, it's pretty intense value. I mean, this,
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's D2 and the whole bit, but little carbon fiber, the fit and finish is good. I mean, yeah, it's hard to argue with that, I mean, like we've talked about it, and a million people have on these channels. I mean, we're so spoiled now with what we can get for $30 in the knife
It's
world.
true. I mean, it's true. I mean, you can find some really, really pretty nice knives for under, that $25-$30 range. You
You
really
can,
can.
for sure.
I mean, the Dozier's been a staple for how long?
Oh yeah. Some people
And
swear. I mean, people swear by that knife. I mean, for some
it's
people,
a good
that's like,
little knife.
yeah, that's like quintessential EDC for them. Yep.
I mean, it's plastic. But it's a great little knife. And what do they cost? $20
Yeah,
normally?
if that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and this one made me think of you actually. So you remember
Uh-oh.
one of my early videos in the channel, and I don't know if you're a big cleaver guy. I'm not a huge cleaver guy, but I'm kind of intrigued by them.
Mhm.
But I mean, and they were all the rage for a while, right? But one of the earliest knives I reviewed on the channel was that little Kershaw Static.
The one you sent
And
me.
yeah, right. And then I sent
Yeah.
it on to you, and I remember I gave it a really favorable review because I was like, wow, this is a nice little unassisted Kershaw with a cool little action, kind of a funky design, a nice
Mhm.
little blade. I
Mhm.
mean, it was a good little cutter.
Yeah.
And so this year when they came out with the bracket, which is basically just the Static,
On steroids.
yeah, grown up. I was a little disappointed they assisted it, honestly. It wasn't. I was kind of like, why'd you do that? You clearly can make good actions, Kershaw, if you want to.
Yeah.
But this is a fun little. I mean, I'm not assist doesn't hugely bother me. It's actually a well done assist because as you can see here, there's like no. Therapeutic Edge just did a good review on this one actually, I think not too long ago. But
Yeah.
there's no, it's they do it so it's not one hand closing, I guess.
Right.
Is pretty darn decent with this, but it's got a nice clip, it's got a good feel in hand, and yeah, it's a fun little, like I said, I'm not huge on cleavers, but I wanted to check out the Static's next bigger generation here. So
What do you think of that pivot? What do you think of the
yeah,
pivot?
well, it was funny. So when I first saw it, and my I generally am not a fan
Oh,
of
dude, that's why I
flam-
asked the question.
flamboyant pivots. Is not necessarily my speed. And when I saw pictures of it, I couldn't figure out what it actually like. I was like, is it really big? Does it stick out? Like,
Right.
and it really is just sort of if you can see, it's almost completely flush. I mean, it's
Oh, it
not.
is. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I know that was the same kind of thing that sorry, my lighting's bad right now, but yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's a little proud. I mean, it sticks out a little proud. It's more just ornamental than anything. I mean, like I said, I think it bothers me a lot less now that I've got it in hand, and I'm like, oh, it's more just decoration than what it looked like in the picture was like this big
Right.
chunky thing sticking out. And in the
Exactly.
name, and even that name bracket, I was like, oh, it's just some kind of weird. Anyways, so
Well,
yeah,
that's just the way it looks. It looks like it kind of
I know.
protrudes out and just looks
Exactly.
weird. But
Well, and
okay, well, that's good to
it's
know.
actually a pretty thin knife overall. I mean, the blade stock is like 0.09 or something. I mean, it's like a super thin. I mean, it's a nice little cleaver, honestly. And it's bigger than the Static, I guess. But I
Yeah.
kind of dug some of this. The Static had some kind of fun. Like you can see here. You remember in the Static had that little flow through construction where you could like see through the
Yeah.
lock bar.
Yep.
Right, which they sort of mimicked here, but then they blocked it with the
Right.
with this, so I don't know. It's kind of it's a weird amalgam of stuff. But recessed screws and a floating backspacer. I mean, it's a
Hey, bravo on
get it
the
for $30. I mean, it was kind of like, it's worth checking out.
definitely bravo on the recessed clip screws.
Yeah, no, I thought that
I'm
was
all
nice.
about that.
Yeah, and Kershaw, when they do it right, they do a nice clip. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I
yeah.
just wish although one of the great debates I had with somebody else online is what this weird little logo is. Oops, I can get the.
Oh, doggone it.
Do you know what that is?
You had to ask. Oh.
Well, somebody was like, is it the Speed Safe logo? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I mean, it looks like something from, Star Wars or something like that. But
Man, now I didn't know what it was.
But a
I
couple
think
of their knives I've seen had these on this year. Like the
it might
Cannonball, I
be.
think, has one. And like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I
Maybe
think.
you'll remember by the time this.
Well, that's just it. I'm gonna look real quick because
Well, I'd
I
like to know
think
because
it.
it's actually
I think
buggy. My
it.
friend Jake from Ohio State. I was over talking to him, and I was like, "Do you know what this is?" And he's like, oh, "I've got one with that too." And we neither of us knew what the heck it was.
I th-
Is it an in-house designer or something?
I think it is.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, I've got it. And I'm looking. Doggone.
Now
Now that bugs me.
I've got, yeah, I've given
Because
you a little.
yeah, you're giving me homework, dude. That's not right.
Well, I appreciate it because I got lazy and stopped looking, but it was.
Hey, you're honest. That's all. That's all we can ask for.
I cared, and
That's
then I asked
all we
Jake,
can
and
ask
then
for
I
is
just sort of,
honesty.
yeah, and then I was sort of like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, somebody will tell us down in the comments.
That's
I'm
true. It'll be
sure.
in the comments. I'll monitor
Yeah.
it down and
Hey,
see what.
bonehead. That's this. Oh yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
right. I know. What do I know?
I get plenty of those. I get plenty of those. Trust
Well,
me.
I had a funny comment the other night. I mean, so I was, normally most of my comments that folks leave are super kind, but
Oh God, yeah, without a doubt.
yeah, it's, I mean, overwhelmingly so. It's always super affirming. But I got a funny one the other night where somebody basically was like, "Oh my God, can you just quit talking about what, or quit telling us what you're gonna say and just say it, right?" So then I responded. So then I responded sort of in real time, and I was like, "Oh, look, another kind and generous YouTube viewer," or I said something along those lines.
Oh yeah.
And then I got another comment back from the guy like 10 minutes later, and he's like, "Oh, well, I that first comment, I was just starting the video, but it got a lot better." And so then he's like, "You got a lot better as it went along," and I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." So then by the time we were done, he and I had responded like 5 times, and at the end, he's like, "Oh, I just subbed and liked the video and subscribed, man. Good video." So it was sort of a funny little, started negative but ended positive kind of
Yeah.
commenting. So that's kind of funny. But
Oh
do you
yeah.
I mean, you always get pretty nice comments too, I think.
Oh, trust me. Oh, trust me. I've had
Yeah, you get your
that whole thing with the Gerber sumo, man. That was pretty interesting. I was like, what in the dude? I was like, do you work for Gerber? I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's just this is my, well, we talked about it when we did our 2021 release.
Oh,
When we
right,
did
right.
those, we
Yeah,
talked
that's right.
about Gerber, and we talked about Gerber and what we, realistic or unrealistic, our expectations. And it's not because I don't say anything because I don't like Gerber. I say
Yeah.
things because I want companies like Gerber and stuff to succeed and to be, but if they choose to be, the whatever they are, then okay, I'm not going to change it.
No, it's funny. I mean, and I'm with you there. I mean, but to be honest, I feel a little bit that way about Kershaw and some of these other companies where I've got a soft place in my heart for them, and
Of
I want to.
course.
And and I know you do too, because we picked that we've shared plenty of Kershaws and other products, and at the end of the day, I like the value, and if they can do some cool stuff, but sometimes they do it and you just go, why did you bother?
Yeah.
I know you can do better than that. Why did you just throw this out there? It's
Well,
and Gerber is very much that way. I mean, it was funny, this mini, this is that armbar slim,
okay.
and I had reviewed the the regular sized version actually kind of early in my channel, and it was the first video in my channel that had like a ton. I mean, a ton for me. It got a lot of views kind of
Right.
right after the date.
Right.
And I was like, wow, okay, that's fun. But people just ate me alive on it all across the board. Either that Gerber was crap and why was I bothering, or I wasn't being nice enough to the Gerber, or whatever it was. It was funny, the polarizing
Yeah.
way people
No,
think
I hear
about
you.
some brands, and it's like, dude, it's just a little $30 multi-tool. It's like, relax. I'm not.
Right. Right. No, I hear. And see, mine is CRKT. I mean,
Oh yes, I know. I've listened to you.
I know, and but the thing
No,
is, like the last one I had, the Pilar 3, I love that knife.
yeah. Where did I?
I love the Pilar 3. It's a
Yeah, that's a cool
fantastic
knife. I need to
knife.
get my hands on that. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you can do this, but then I see some of the other stuff you do, and I'm like, what's the difference?
I know, because they're probably making it in the same factory. I mean, or what?
That's
I
just
mean,
it. That's just it.
no. Well, it's funny, and this little. See, speaking, and I'm totally with you. I think your assessment of CRKT has been, well, I think you've been more than fair to them, honestly, and they, you know, I think you just keep arriving at the same conclusion that I think a lot of us do if we're honest about it. And, you know, I picked this one up. I don't even remember what the heck the name on this thing is. It was their, oh, there it is in big letters. Tueto.
That's the
Oh, no,
Tueto. Okay.
the Tuto. That's right.
Tuto, is that how you say it?
Yeah, I looked it up as Tuto. But you know, I was like, oh, it's a box design. I was like, that's cool, and that's CRKT's thing, right? I mean, they have all these
Oh yeah.
these great designs.
Yep.
With designer, and I was like, wow, it's kind of a cool. It actually reminded me a little bit of my Katla, which I like really a lot. One of my favorite knives that I get, you know. So I was like, yeah, I'll check this thing out, and then I got it, and I was like, okay, so it's got this assist, which I knew it did. I mean, I knew it did, but it's a little bit strong. It's got this, I mean, I think in my video I talked about, I mean, the clip, you cannot bend the clip. I mean, it's like it's like reinforced steel or something. I don't know what they did, but I mean, I literally look at my finger. I mean, you can't.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the worst clip I've ever. I mean, you can't get it in your pocket. I mean, it's just the worst clip I've ever seen. And then on top of that, the steel on this thing was like some weird, like, what's the 1.466?
Oh yeah, 4166, yeah, or
Yeah, 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 yeah,
4116,
yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's slightly off. One of the last numbers is slightly off. So it's like not quite Swiss Army knife steel. It's so
Right.
anyways. But I was like, seriously? You couldn't even bother with a little 8CR on this thing? Like, you know, for a $40 or $50 knife or whatever this kind of was. So yeah, I'm with you. I mean, in a lot of ways, I don't know. I just don't really bother with them anymore. I mean, the only CRKT that I keep and like is my little squid.
Oh yeah, you talk about that squid quite a bit.
I love this little squid. This is, I mean, it's riding on Teflon and everything. It was one of my first, you know, kind of, I don't know. I love this little knife. I mean, it's just a little steel bomb, but it's, I don't know. I like it.
And there again, that goes back to they can make these knives that are just like, I'm like, that was with the Polar 3. I was just like, holy crap, man,
Yeah.
this is an awesome knife, you know.
Yeah.
And then I go to another one. I was like, oh,
I know.
that base.
And that's the thing. You just never know what you're going to get from,
I know.
you know, from time to time. So it's just,
And
you know, and actually,
for those of you that listen, I'm not bad mouthing CRKT.
Oh, yes, you
I
are.
no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I want them. You said, you know, a soft spot in your heart. Gerber,
Right.
CRKT, Kershaw, the U.S. companies, they have got to up their game.
I know. No, it's true. So I picked up this because, again, I'm a sucker for it, and I keep wanting to, like, okay, you know, this one looks interesting. Let me review it. So this is the CRKT Helical, I think it was. There it is. So it's a Ken Onion design.
I did. Yep, I reviewed that one. Yep.
Yeah, and I was like,
Yep.
oh, this looks interesting. Okay, its action is and no matter what I did, and I know this may not be a huge thing, but I mean, look at the centering on that. It's like, even, you know, it's so off, it's not even cool. And that's with a lot of blade play. And then when I try to put blade or get the blade play out of it, it just gets even worse. And I'm like, you
Oh,
know,
really?
yeah. So I never even, and this, again, it was like a $60 knife or whatever it was. And I'm like, this is not playing at the same level as this. They're just not anymore, you know.
No.
I mean, and I mean, this was a $40 knife, and it's better than this in just about every single way, including cut my thumb off right there. So yeah, I mean, again, and I never even bothered to review it because I was so kind of ticked off that and I probably should. Somebody got mad in the video the other day because I said something about having a knife on my table with blade play that I ended up not reviewing because I didn't want to deal with it. And they're like, well, you got to review bad knives too. Don't just review good knives.
You know, and that's kind of something that that's kind of one of the directions I plan on going in 2021. And I've done it a couple of times so far. And I'm not talking about trashing a knife. That's not what I can say I don't like a knife without completely trashing it. And trust me, I have. The Civivi Elementum.
I've heard your review. Yeah, no, totally.
You know, it's just
I don't.
Yeah. I haven't done anything to them yet this year.
No, that's true.
I've let them off the hook so far this year.
Yeah, that's true. Well, maybe I'll send you this one and get you going. Started.
But that's just it, you know. And I think, and because we as reviewers, we tend to review knives that we like, and you know, and it just makes sense. That's human nature.
Right.
But I think we need to it's only fair to our viewers. And I've had this comment a couple of times, well, more than a couple here recently, especially because I just reviewed, what was it, the free fall and not the Swift, the other one, two best tech knives.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
it was the
yeah.
free
That's
fall
right.
and gosh darn it, the other one. And
Yeah.
I liked one,
Right.
but then I came to the free fall. That free fall, that knife made 0 sense to me. And I mean, I don't, and there again, I'm not, I don't want to trash anything,
No.
because there was a designer that designed that knife and he felt good about it. And it's not my place to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I
No.
can
I
I
know.
can definitely tell people that I'm not a fan. And if you're anything like me, you may or may not be a fan as well.
Right.
And somebody said, I had the comment, or somebody hit me up on Instagram saying, "Man, thank you for what you said about the free fall." But I was like, because I was really looking at that knife, and when you know, showed it and really and I didn't even really go in depth on it because
Yeah.
I didn't want to review it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
No, I
Seriously.
know.
I
I
mean,
know.
I'm being serious, but
No.
I felt, I need to tell people my
Yeah.
thoughts and my feelings about the knife.
Yep.
And somebody said, "Thank you very much because with what you showed, I realized that I probably saved myself $220."
Right. Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, I'm glad, because I don't want anybody to spend money and then be disappointed."
But
That's
yeah, but I think that begs the question a little bit, right? Because I agree with you. I mean, and I've had similar comments where people, and I've said before with my channel. I mean, by and large, I tend to review stuff that I find interesting or that
sure.
that I seek out. I'm not I don't just review any old thing that comes across my table just for the sake. I mean, it's just not my style.
Right.
But um, which again is I can't believe I managed to even have 2,000 subscribers with that approach to knife reviewing. But no, truly, it's like certain things. But I try to keep my good or bad fairly even, right? I mean, I don't
Well,
try
that's
to
just it.
flip off on it. I mean, like this best tech. Speaking of best tech, this best tech circuit that I got, there was a lot I liked about this knife, but there were things about it that I hit them pretty hard on in the review because they ticked, it's got a beautiful blade and some other stuff, but it's got this weird detent issue. And like, I mean, I don't have any problem at all calling out a knife. And I think I try to be as fair as possible when I'm doing
Oh,
that.
you are. You're extremely fair. You're
But I'm
extremely
not,
fair when you
well,
do it.
I appreciate that. But I'm also not a guy that's going to scream bloody murder and throw the knife across my table just because
No,
it
no,
does
no,
something that I don't like.
no.
And I'm with you. I respect the fact that yeah, this was probably somebody's design, and I mean, I don't want to sound so snooty to the fact that because it has some chamfering that I don't like, or some of the design characteristics aren't my favorite, or whatever it is, that somehow this is a piece of garbage, and it's not. Right? It's not.
Right, right.
And I think if we start going down that road where unless it's exactly what we want, I don't know, it just starts to sound a little um, there's a lot of just really average knives out there is the other part of the problem, probably on some level, is that,
Well,
it's not a good knife. It's not a great knife. It's not a bad knife either. It's just a decent knife,
and
60
that's,
bucks.
I kind of do the whole little like rating system, right, with
Right, right.
mine.
Yeah.
And somebody commented, because if it's a good solid knife, there's nothing that I'm going to take away from it. And there's nothing that I can really glowingly talk about.
Yeah.
It's a knife. It does what the knife's supposed to do. And you know what? It's solid. I give a knife an 8.5.
Right.
That may be high to some people. It might be, okay, that's fine. But to me, if because like Civivi, a lot of the best techs, they're good, solid knives. They're pretty much going to do everything you were going to ask them to do.
Yep.
Now, we get into some categories where people ask knives to do things that they're not meant to do, and that's a whole different subject.
Yep.
But I mean, it's a good knife.
Well, that's right. And at the end of the day, and I kind of realized that after after watching your channel for a while, I realized that I was like, okay, when I hear that 8.5 from Blue, or 8 or 8.5, depending on where it is, what I ended up, kind of gleaning from that was, what he's saying is that this is a perfectly safe and usable tool that's going to get the job done. It may not be the best thing ever made, and it's certainly, but for what you're paying for it, it's going to do the job. And it might have some niggles here and there of some stuff you might not like or might not be ideal. But I'm with you 100%. I mean, on some level, this is a, by a lot of standards, this is a really nice knife. I mean,
Right.
it's compared to what, certainly I had growing up. I mean, these are cool knives at $60. It gets you a lot. It doesn't have to be a $200, whatever. But I think that's why I tend to be harder on the $200 when there's a mistake or something I don't like as much than I am on the $60.
Right. Right.
Because I think at the end of the day, you know, I, I think if well, I don't know. I mean, you can get into it, but if what you're looking for is this is kind of the max of what you want to pay on a knife, you're gonna have to take some good with some bad with that. I mean, that's just the way it's gonna be.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
yeah,
I mean, when
but
you're
but
looking
if
when
you're
you're
just
looking in that 50, under $50
right,
range, you're gonna find some that, aren't they have a little quirk or something.
right,
But if it doesn't affect the operability of the knife, it doesn't
right,
hurt the user, it's just a little quirk that's a little odd. You might have to it's well, you don't have to because you can find plenty that don't.
yes,
You don't have to put up with anything.
no, you don't,
Let's talk
no, you
about
don't,
now in the knife world, you don't have to put up with anything because
no,
there's so many different kinds, varieties, steels, handle materials, whatever the case may be.
yep,
And you can find something in your price range that's a great value knife that's going to work for you all day long and
yep,
come right back and do it for you again tomorrow.
yep, yep, that's right,
And on some of the lower knives, okay, like your lower grade steels, like maybe an 8CR13, and shout out to 8CR13 MOV, shout out to Ray. I'm not
right,
dogging 8CR13.
no,
Doesn't
no,
hold an edge as good as other steels.
right,
So you
no,
might have to strop her up at the end of the
no,
day or something like that. But you do that, it's going to be ready to go to work tomorrow.
that's right, that's right.
And that's all you can ask for from your tool.
That's I think you're right, and I think it's this constant balancing act as a reviewer, and and I don't, I'm no God's gift to reviewing, but I think as a reviewer, it's this constant balancing between trying to address the issues that I know deep in knife people care about, right? People like you and me who spend we are deep in and we like it a lot, and we notice all these little minute details,
Right.
and they matter to us. What kind of, okay, it's caged ball bearings. Well, are those ceramic or are they stainless steel ball bearings? I mean, we ask those kind of questions, but there's also a whole other audience out there of people that they're not interested in that. They're
No,
interested in,
does it
if
work?
I if right, if I pick this up, is it gonna, is this a piece of garbage or not? I mean, I think that's
Right.
ultimately what a lot of people want to
Oh, of
know. And
course. Of course.
yeah, and if it is, I mean, I'll say, I mean, if I ultimately come across something that's a bit, I don't know about you, JB, but I mean, by and large, I mean, unless you're going out of your way to pick up crap, um, a lot of the companies out there nowadays that we might pick knives up from, whether it's, Best Tech or CJRB or Civivi or, whoever, they're just making the Kershaw. I mean, they're making fine knives.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, without a
they're
doubt.
making, right, and some better than others, and some more, whatever. But anyways, not to belabor it, but it becomes a
No,
point,
no, you're right. You're exactly right. And trust me, you might get that one off.
sure,
That it snuck past the QC or whatever. It happens.
yes, it does.
It happens. I mean, I know companies, there's companies they go above and beyond to try to prevent it,
Yep,
but it happens every once in a while.
sure.
Trust me, I've had that. I can't even. Oh, it was kind of early on, and I can't even remember what knife. And everybody was just talking about how, oh, well, I know one knife that it just got rave reviews, and that was the Kershaw Skyline. And Okay, I gotta check this knife out. I got it, and I was like, okay. And the one I got had no detent whatsoever on it. Uh-oh, something happened to your audio there.
Oh, is it better?
No, it's kind of you kind of fishbowly.
Wonder what happened here. See if I can. Is that better or worse?
It's about the same. You actually sound like a stormtrooper. It's kind of cool.
Weird. This is funny. This happened to me in my podcast with Ray the other day. Let me see if I can.
It does. You do. You sound like a stormtrooper. That was kind of cool though. Uh-oh, did you freeze up? Uh-oh. I'm there. You froze up for a minute. Uh-oh. Oh, hang on. All right. We're back. Where'd the stormtrooper go, man?
I know. Yeah. Evidently, my phone likes to, modulate my voice when it gets tired of it.
It was kind of cool, man. You did kind of sound like a stormtrooper. At first, I was like, "Oh man, something happened," and then you kept talking, and I was like, "That's kind of cool, though."
It was funny. You got sort of quiet, and I was like, "Uh-oh, what's going on?" Did I?
I was like, "What?" I was like that. Well, I don't know. The screen did freeze for just a quick second, but I was kind of like, "Man, we should keep doing it like this." I'm talking to a stormtrooper. This is cool.
Maybe I can get some Darth Vader breathing effects put in there too.
Oh, dude, do it. Do it. I'm a Star Wars nerd, so yeah, I'm up for it.
Yeah, no, I'm a Star Wars guy. I'm more of a Star Trek guy, actually. I've always been a.
Oh,
I know. You're one or the other.
dagger.
I'm a Trekkie. I'm a Trekkie.
Hey, I won't hold that against you. I will not.
Well, I
hold that
appreciate
against
that.
you.
I appreciate
Not at all.
Yeah.
Just like knives, right? We can't
Yeah.
all like the same thing.
It's all, yes, that's right. It's,
So
it's our, yes, it's the diversity that feeds us.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what else you got going on, man?
So, well, I think, I probably should have mentioned this. When we were talking about subscribers, I've got a little bit of a event coming up, which I'm pretty excited about. And I'll kind of, if you'll allow me, do a little teaser here,
Oh,
for,
dude.
yeah.
Are you kidding? No, I'm honored, man. Go shoot it. Shoot.
No, thanks. So, crossing over 2000 was kind of just a fun mark for me, and I got thinking about it, and I really was interested I've always been a big fan of the sort of kind of charitable, raffle-y kind of events that Nick Shabazz has done. I've
Sure.
participated in a lot of those in the past, and I always
You
feel
bet.
like it's kind of a win-win with the community, right? I mean, the community kind of comes together to support something, and at the same time, people have a chance to get some cool gear. So,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. So I've got an event that I'm working on that's a little personal for my family, and something that means something to us. And I reached out to actually Mr. Shabazz himself, and we had a nice long chat. He was super gracious to kind of give me some tips and some other things to
Oh,
kind of
very
get
cool. Very
yeah,
cool.
no, he was super awesome about it. And then on top of that, went above and beyond and sent me some awesome gear that he actually has just reviewed on his channel as
Oh, right on.
yeah, that he donated to be part of the event. So yeah, so it's pretty exciting. So I'm hopeful in the next depending on when this airs, it could be a week, could be maybe 2 weeks or so out, but yeah, there'll be a video coming out from me kind of celebrating that, and hopefully people will enjoy the cause and want to try to do some good and get some cool prizes out of it at the same time. So
That's
yeah, so
awesome.
keep an eye peeled for that. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be
Very
fun.
good. Very good. No, it's and well, like right now, like you said, whenever this airs, this is actually going to air probably next Saturday. So when they see it,
Okay.
we're recording this like a week ahead of time. But anyway,
Yeah, no.
like right now, I believe, let me see, what's that date gonna be? Yeah, still should be going on, but like I don't know, Grom. Does Grom follow you? He follows everybody. Grom
Yeah,
Molotok?
Yeah, he does. Yep. And I think
I-
I follow him. I think I
and
follow him.
yeah, and he's got a real small channel. He's,
Yep.
you know, and but he's doing a kind of a charitable giveaway for Zeb's dad and the GoFundMe that's set up for that.
Oh, right
And
on.
I mean, we
Right on.
just see that over and over and over all
It's
the
one of the
time.
best part. Yeah, it's one of the best parts of the community, right? I mean,
It
I
is
think
by
it's,
far, without a doubt.
yeah, I mean, as much as, as much as we can be hard-nosed community on certain things here and there, by and large, there's a lot of soft underbelly to this community. Let me
Oh
put it
yeah.
to put it
Oh
that way.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and people just come together at the drop of a hat to kind of do some cool stuff. So, and I really notice people in general, we all just like celebrating each other's causes and happy times and helping people get through tougher times. And yeah, it's pretty remarkable. It's certainly something I love. It's one of the big thing that keeps me engaged, honestly,
Well,
is
and
how,
it's kind of funny you mentioned that because when I started, it was my son that kind of spurred me along to get me going, and he
right,
was doing the whole YouTube thing, but he was doing it in the gaming community.
right, right,
And then a few of us that's kind of started out, Grateful Panic and BCS and Zeb with Woodland Tactical. We all started out about the same time,
okay,
and we basically just started helping one another out.
right.
Right. And my son was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "The channels." And I was like, "Well, yeah, we're helping one another out." He goes, "Man, that doesn't happen here." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Oh no, it's like super, super competitive and all this other stuff." And he's like, "It just, I don't know. I've never really jumped into that community, so I don't know. I can't speak
Yeah,
from
yeah,
experience. I'm just
yeah.
going by what he told me." And he's like, "No, no." He's like, "You're on your own, man." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. All right. Well, that kind of sucks." I mean,
Yeah, right.
I think when we help one another out and like we do on these live streams. I mean, when you go on
Yeah,
these live streams, I mean, a lot of times it's a bunch of other channels in the live stream
I know.
just BSing and talking. And
Yep.
I mean, that to me, that just builds the community up even more.
No, it's funny. I mean, I agree with you 100%. And I mean, I think there's probably more knife channels right now than there probably ever has been. And
Oh yeah.
one of the things that's great about that is, and I've always been like you as well. I mean, I certainly listen to my bigger channels. I like to check out Slicey Dicey and Nick Shabazz and
Oh sure.
Advanced Knife Bro. I mean, these are all bigger channels that I enjoy and I check them out. But I love some of my smaller channels are the ones that I really enjoy, and they're people that I've connected with because either we kind of started at the same time, or
Exactly.
like you were one of the channels that reached out and said, hey, let me help get you introduced to the community and that kind of stuff. And once you have that kind of bond, and I think that is probably kind of unique here in this community, and so it's totally. I don't know how to maybe describe it very well, but it's one of those things that I agree with you. I mean, it doesn't mean we don't. You could make a career trying to watch everybody's stuff out there. I mean,
Oh my goodness.
there's so
Oh
much content
geez.
out there. It's
Yeah.
hard, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's fun just to pop in and out. Especially with the lives. Lives are really fun. I've been toying with the idea of doing a live. I worry that I would just bore the heck out of people. But part of the fun with the lives is exactly that. It's just a bunch of people, and like you said, oftentimes it's just a lot of other YouTubers or high profile or higher profile Instagram folks or whatever, just supporting each other along with kind of just members of the community. So it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat phenomenon actually.
Oh,
But
that direct interaction is it's 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 the best. It's the
yep,
best part about doing this. It is.
yep, one hundred
And dude,
percent.
you said you'd be amazed, man. You'd be amazed at I'm truly I'm being serious. I'm being completely honest. And it's not, and trust me, I know this from, it's not all about when I'm doing a live, it's not all about me.
Right. True.
Because people are talking in the chat and all that.
That's
That's what it's there for.
that's true.
That's what it's there for. It's to
I
bring
should know
people
that as one of those
together.
people that talks in the chat. I should know that. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes
I mean,
sometimes the chats take on a whole conversation on their own. Yeah.
oh yeah, I mean, trust me, there's been times where nobody's listening to me, but I'm going to keep talking because, and that's fine. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
exactly what it's
but
there for.
to be fair though, I mean, I mean, I've said this to you before, but you know how I feel about it. I mean, you've been um, I think more than a lot of channels, in my opinion. I mean, you've really gone out of your way to be one of to make it a part of your channel, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm not knocking any channels. I'm just saying you've made it a part of your channel is to support, bring out, call out, draw attention to a lot of other folks that are out there getting things done or getting started or doing whatever. And I think that's made you, it's a really valuable role that you play in the community. And I think it's why a lot of people really like and respect you, because it's there's a selflessness to it, because at the end of the day, right, I mean, it's all nice to get subscribers and to have videos that get likes and all these other things and views, but at the same time, spending some of your YouTube capital or whatever you want to call it to help another channel out or to help somebody else out, kind of like we were talking about with the whether it's a GoFundMe or whatever it is. But
Right.
this channel, yeah, I mean, and you've been a leader of that, I think, for a long time, certainly as long as I've been doing any of this, which I guess isn't that long, but
Well, I appreciate
no,
that very
no,
much, and that is to be perfectly honest with you, that is exactly one of my goals on my channel.
no, right. I mean, you've
That's
said
why
that
I
before.
started doing channel
Yeah,
chats, and that's the whole reason. I mean, I wanted to do it a lot sooner, but you know, I
yeah,
I'm not really I was never really into the podcast world and that type of thing.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
but I mean, it's coming up. I mean, it's growing by leaps and bounds. And I don't call this a podcast. Is it? If you want to call it one, sure, okay. I don't
yeah,
know. I just it's me talking with a friend of mine about something that we both enjoy and like talking about. That's what it is to me.
No, I
But
think that's right. Yeah, I mean, and it's a fine line, podcast, not a podcast. I don't know. I mean, obviously you can go more formal, like Ray does or whatever. But I said that to Ray too. I mean, when Ray got into doing this podcast, he was kind of the only game in town in a lot of ways with the podcast stuff.
he was.
But he encouraged a lot of other folks to do it. I remember then it was Carlos EDC decided to do it, and then a bunch of folks have kind of, and now you've got Bearded Gear, and there's just a ton of folks who are kind of moving. And I remember Ray at the time was like, let's create a culture. Let's create this
Oh
podcast.
yeah, that was
So
exactly what he wanted to do.
yeah, I mean, and he wasn't just sort of hoarding all the I
Oh
want to be the
no.
only podcast in town kind of a thing. And
No.
again, it really speaks to, I think, how people approach each other in the community. It's pretty cool. It's
Oh
pretty neat.
yeah, yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. No, it's by far it's a blast, and I love doing it, and it's like like last not just this. Well, by the time people are seeing this, I guess it would be like 2 weeks ago. When those like poor KC, things happen on those live streams, man. Like me with the I don't know. I guess YouTube that night was having live issues, and I don't when stuff like that happens, I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's YouTube. It's just out of your control. You have no clue, and you try to work through it,
Yep.
and it can get a little. You can get flustered. I can get flustered. I know that, and it's like because you don't know what to. Okay, this is happening. How do I? I just gotta.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
gotta roll with it and do the best you can, and like Casey when he was doing his first live, and I mean he was asking me about stuff. What about this? What about that? And I'm trying to help him. Talk with him and say, hey, um, set it up like so, and all this other good stuff, and he gets it rolling. And I guess what he figured out is when you take like your uh the thumbnail picture,
Okay.
when it took the thumbnail picture, it basically like locked it into portrait.
No.
I think that's what happened to him. And then, and we were talking about it before. I felt so bad for him because it was his first one and he wanted it to be, and I really wanted to text, but he's using his phone. And
Right.
I didn't
Right.
want to hit him up on Instagram to just add to the chaos.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And I just want to say, just go with it, man. That's all you can do. Just roll with
Yeah.
it. Have a good time. And he did. He did really well. And I mean, you could tell it bothered him, but
Sure.
he rolled with it. And you know, that's all you can do.
Well, and at the end of the day, I mean, I only can speak for myself, but you know, I'm not a, Hollywood television producer, right? so
No.
so I mean, yeah, I mean, anybody who's watched my videos, I mean, that's about as advanced as it's going to get for me on it. So yeah, I certainly would.
Oh, come on,
I'd
dude.
be.
Your edits you throw in are awesome.
Oh, I just do some funny cutaways and
Dude,
stuff.
but they're perfect.
Well, I
There's you
appreciate
do
that.
no, you do, man. I love that. That's what I love about your videos. You just got those little, like, what did he say? And
Yeah,
just little
right.
those are so funny, man. And it's just it makes it makes you stand out
Well, I appreciate that.
in a good way. In a good way. Don't give
I was
me
gonna say,
no, in
is
a
is
good
there a
way.
qualifier there?
No, 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 no. No, I do. I like it. It's
Yeah,
fun, man. And this
yeah.
stuff. And there, dude, there's just, it is. It's just a lot of fun. And that's what I like. And I'm like, not even, no.
Yeah. Well, but again, I think everybody has their personal touch, right? And I think
Right.
that's why, I mean, and I'm always surprised by this, and then I don't know why I'm surprised, because I do the same thing. Is I'll watch 3 or 4 reviews of the same knife, just because I know different people have different things they look at, and so it
Sure.
can, so I'm like, oh, I'll watch Big Red, and then I'll do this or that. But for some reason, I'm always surprised when people say to me, I think I posted something on the Akuchi or something the other day, and on Instagram, and somebody's like, well, are you going to review an Akuchi? And then in my head, I'm always just sort of like, yeah, but it's been reviewed to death. I mean, what am I going to, and the comments I always get back are, yeah, but I'd like to hear what you would have to say.
Exactly. People
And
want to know what you think.
that's super humbling in a lot of ways, because
Oh,
I mean,
exactly.
the fact that people care what I have to think is sort of amazing to me. But then at the same time, it makes me feel good too, because I'm like, oh, that's cool. People are actually getting something out of my
Yeah,
video. and
exactly.
and even if it's a knife that's not the newest thing under the, out on hot off the presses, it's still, people are still curious. And I think sometimes we forget, just because we get a lot of knives maybe that cross our table or something, even as a small channel like me, I have a lot of opportunity to look at a lot of different knives. Not everybody has that same opportunity either, right? I mean,
Exactly.
just because
Exactly.
we think the Akuchi is old or older in terms of how things move so quickly here in the knife world, there's a lot of people though that still have never seen or heard or felt, or handled, I mean, so whatever it might be. So it's just kind of funny, and it's a constant reminder of, there's
Okay,
why people turn into the channels.
a little bit of perspective. I'm not a huge channel by any means, but I'm doing a
Oh,
video a
yeah.
day. I'm doing a
You're
video
growing.
a
You're
day.
growing like gangbusters, buddy, which is awesome. But
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying. We'll put it that
no,
way.
no, it's awesome. Yeah.
But I do a review a day. I review a knife, and there are so many knives out there that I've never seen.
I know. Isn't
Okay,
that
if I
funny?
do a
Isn't that
review a
funny?
day, if I
Yeah,
do a
that's true.
review a day, we're talking
That's a good point.
365 knives,
Yeah,
and there's so many that I haven't seen yet
that's a good point.
because there's
That's a
just
good
so
point.
many out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a
And
great point.
I have people that I've had that before. Hey, did you review such and such? And I was like,
Right.
oh man, that night, man, that's a couple of years old now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't, I never, that one just kind of slipped through the cracks or whatever. I never got a hold of it. And they're like, man, would you think about reviewing it if you can get your hands on one? Same way, like you said, and I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, I want to know what you think. Okay,
Well,
okay.
and it's funny, and I don't know if I have it in front of me here. Oh, I do have it in front of me. So I thought I would just briefly do it. Oops. So this is that Skaha 2, right? And I was on the wait list for this friggin' thing for 2 years or whatever, this North Arms. And
Mm-hmm.
I finally got it, and I did a super sort of a, I forget what I called it, no sweet talk, just a quick review. Like,
Right.
I think it was less than, gosh, I mean, it was like 5 or 6 minutes, something super. And I did the review, and people were great, and it got okay views and stuff like that. But then the more I thought about it afterwards, I was like, this is a cool knife that I waited a long time to get. Why did I just do that little short review? And part of the reason I did it was I was like, well, this knife has been reviewed to death, right? Everybody
Right.
and their brother has reviewed the Skaha. And then
Right.
the more I thought about it recently, though, I was like, yeah, but I haven't reviewed the Skaha.
That's right.
And
No, you're right.
it's
You're
a new
absolutely
knife.
right.
Well, and it's a new knife to me. It's new in my collection, and I love it. It's fantastic. And so I was thinking about, I was like, I don't think I did it justice in that quick little review where I just wanted to try to get, kind of my 5 cents out there about, what, kind of some initial thoughts on a knife that I know a lot of people had reviewed. But I think I'm going to
Right.
do a regular standard kind of mild mannered review on it because I think it warrants it. And I think at the end of the day, it's part of being a channel is putting your mark on whatever knife it is that you're coming across, even if other people have already reviewed it to death. And this knife is one of the later versions, so it has some different things going on. It doesn't have the grind marks. It's got a different finish on the blade, for example.
Right.
A couple other little things. So it's the latest edition, so to speak, of the Scout Hot 2. So there's differences there too. So, anyways, not to
That's a
yammer
that's a
on.
me blade though. That's a me
Oh
blade
man, let me
right
tell
there.
you.
I love that blade.
Do you own one?
No, I don't. But I mean, that looks like, not no underlying intent meant, but it looks like the drop point, simple drop point that draws me to pretty much every Laconico knife. And I am super drawn to that blade style.
Yeah, you and I think share some similarities in taste on some of that kind of stuff, and I'm with you. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is this. It's a little thick, so it's got a little bit of girth to it here, which I can see why some folks might not, that it's not the thinnest EDC carry.
Right.
But I got to tell you, man, I mean, this is a right out of the box. I think this is the knife that I've been sort of most blown away with in terms of just action, the sound, the feel, the quality. It's yeah. I mean, I like the story behind it. It's a father and son team out of Canada. I mean, the whole bit. And it's just one of those knives where it's not super flashy, right? It is not, and I think you can say that for a lot of the Laconico knives too. I mean, I think if you're thinking along those lines, they're not necessarily the most flashy knives in the world, but they're just really good.
Yeah.
um, and sometimes that really good, especially if it's a profile or an aesthetic that you really like.
And
Yeah.
you know what, you just hit on something too, and it kind of goes back to when we were talking about, how we do videos and everything like that. I am I'm a pretty simple guy.
Mm.
I'm not gonna lie. And I like simple things. If I were to try to review and edit and all my videos, that's not me.
Yeah.
My videos are simple,
Mhm.
to the point, because that's me.
But
That
you also
knife.
provide, but don't sell yourself short. I mean, you
No, and
provide
I'm
good
not.
you
That's
provide
that's
good
just it.
information.
I'm not sell. I don't want to sell. I'm not trying to sell myself short. It's just that
Oh
I'm
no.
not. I'm not going to be that big production like you said.
No, right.
I'm
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
Hollywood producer, director. That's not me. That's not my style. That's why those
Right.
knives with those just unflashy, straight, clean drop point blades. That's what I'm drawn to, because that's me, simple, and that's
But
just.
and this, I don't disagree with you, and I think this is though where I get a little, um I'm not consistent with my collecting, because on one hand, I love this kind of knife, love it. It just is a fabulous knife, and I can appreciate so much about it. On this, in the same breath, I love this knife too.
Oh,
It,
okay.
and this is that Evu Typhoon, the Brian the Riot made, but and I love a good clip point as well. Obviously, different in terms of sort of look, I think, and sort of what they're trying to bring to the table. But I can appreciate both of these knives differently in some ways, right? And they're both excellent. I mean, they're both totally excellent knives. Um, but to be honest with you, $26, White Mountain knives. I love this little Luna too, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I think that's where you get into the fun of this hobby,
Oh,
because
without a doubt.
I mean, and this is where, it's just so fun to kind of do this, because it doesn't really, I find myself loving knives that it has nothing to do with their price point, has nothing to do with their, the reputation of the maker or any of that kind of stuff. It's just more purely how it speaks to me. And once I get it in hand and I go, damn, that is just a cool little knife. And, okay, this one was 26 bucks and this was 350 or whatever,
Right.
but at the same
Right.
time, you're like, I, I carry this just as often, right? Maybe sometimes more because I'm afraid of, messing this one up or doing something to it. But,
Right. Right.
it's, so it's the weird, I think I'm kind of rambling on that, but I think it's sort of the weirdness of the hobby for me a little bit, which is, I find myself being really eclectic in what I like, and sort of my collection is it's varied, I guess is the way to say it. I
Well,
don't have a theme. I know that I mean, I've seen your penchant for that Laconico style. That's definitely, when I
sure.
see those, I'm like, that's a big red knife. I mean, I can tell when I see a knife, I'm like, oh, he's got to get himself one. Speaking of which, did you get an old guard or a mini old guard?
I did not get the mini. I have a full size.
Yeah.
I
You
did
like
not
it?
get a mini yet. Oh, I do. Oh,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Yeah, I really do like it. But I mean, I don't know how you get, I don't know how you got your setup there, and I don't know if you can see my screen, but we were talking about, and just to piggyback what you were saying.
It's sorry, it's small. So
No,
it's
that's
only,
okay. It's okay. But
yeah.
the Laconico, that's the clean, that's what really draws me in, right?
All right.
But if you would look at this, if you could see my screen right now, there's not a single one of those blade shapes on this table right now.
No, that's true from what I can see. Yeah,
And
that's funny.
they're
Yeah,
all these knives on the table. I love them. They're
yeah,
great knives.
yeah,
But it's not, and like I've got David Solaris, I got the
yeah,
new
yeah,
Mini Adamas, the
yep.
Going Gear exclusive 940. They're just, but they're good knives.
Right. No, I
It's
hear
just not what I am immediately drawn. I mean, the minute you flick that Skaha open, I was like, oh yeah, okay.
you.
All right, show daddy a little more. Come on. That's what grabs me. That's what
Yeah, yeah,
grabs
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But I can do the same thing. I mean, I don't know if you've got your hands on a mini Adamas yet.
No,
Ooh, this
yeah,
is not even remotely close to what I say I love in a knife. And this is a fantastic knife.
yeah.
I love this thing. I've had it for 2 days. Man, this is going to be my new Punisher.
See, and it's so funny because that's one of those knives where I look at it and I'm like, I have no interest in that knife.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, weirdly so. And then I watched some reviews on it, and I'm like, wow, everybody says this thing is awesome. And it very well may be. But this is where I think that the hobby is so funny and quirky, where people are just like, I mean, even like something like this, I am not a Tonto guy at all. I don't like them at all. It's
Okay.
generally speaking.
I have to
I like
I
this,
have to figure out how I say that. Not my preferred blade style. I have to
right?
find a super, because trust me, because somebody's like, why don't you like a Tanto? They're Tanto. They're super useful. And I was like, I'm not saying it's not. It's
Right.
not my preferred blade shape.
Me either. Me either. But it doesn't. But the knife itself, overall, is one that I ended up really liking, and so for me, um, it became one. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's so weird to me. I can't quite figure out my own hobby. I definitely am like, is this, what is it that you like, Brad? And I can't tell because I don't seem to have any rhyme or reason. It just seems to be whatever speaks to me
But
at the moment.
your tastes
Is
evolve.
They do, and so, I mean, that's another thing. Size too. I find myself. I think you and I talked about this when we met up at Bass Pro Shop a while ago. About how, I think you were trending smaller, and I think I was trending bigger in terms of knives that we were carrying. And we
We
all.
we don't have to get personal, Brad.
That
No,
was
I'm
not.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, God. No, but truly, right? I mean, I think it was sort of like, hey, I'm leaning
Yeah.
more towards these smaller knives in my pocket, and I'm going, yeah, I'm liking this 3.5-inch blade that I'm carrying around. So I mean, it's funny. It's just a funny part of the hobby.
Well, and that's just it. The 940 or the bug out, that's, more the knife that I find myself EDCing, because it's lighter or whatever. But then again, I go back to the Mini Adamas. Even the Solaris is a bigger knife,
Right.
but it's a fantastic knife.
Agreed.
I really, really like it. So, I mean, it just, our tastes evolve, they change, and is it situational? Sure, it can be.
Yeah.
Because if I know what I'm doing, the bug out, I'm probably not going to get it to do everything that the mini Adamas can do for me.
No, right.
And so
Right.
it's super situational at times as well.
Well, and it's funny because I would not pick the Adamas as a knife that I would think you would like that. I
I
mean,
didn't
no.
either. I didn't either. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Uh, Zach was like, "Hey, I got a knife I'm going to show you." Okay, cool. We do this all the time. He
Right.
shows it, he pulls it out. I'm like, all right, that's cool. And then I get it in hand and I feel it, and I'm like, huh, all right, okay, we might be on to something. And just the more I held it, and even after I bought these, and we did, I don't know, we did that little live stream when we went down there on Friday
Right.
with this. Was picking up and playing with this more than I was playing with this.
Yeah. See, that's
It's just
so
because,
funny, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just because I don't know. It just, I really, really like this knife.
It's
And, you know,
you can't try to rationalize some of it. I think it's
no.
just it becomes you just do or you don't.
And I'll tell you a big one. And Ben, I'm sorry. My apologies to Ben. I had no interest in checking out the banner.
Yeah.
None. I had none.
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, that knife did nothing for me. And I'm not being mean, and I'm not, because that's the way it was. And trust me, if there's people thinking, wow, that's not nice, trust me, it's happened to you. I know it has.
Sure. Of
And
course.
it's just like I had no interest. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And then I got one, I think it was Zach sent me one to check out. And I'm like, wow, I was so dumb. I mean, seriously, that was my first thought. I was like, well, that was kind of I was kind of really, I don't know, snooty or whatever you want to call it. I mean,
No, I don't think it's
judging a book by its cover. There you go.
sure.
I judged a book by its cover, and I was wrong. And you know what? I can admit I'm wrong. Because once I got it in hand, I was like, wow, this is a lot more comfortable than I thought it would be.
No, I think that's exactly right. And again, that's the fun of the hobby, and that's where Metamorph is a good example, right? I love the Metamorph. I've been a fan of it for a long time. I really like Ostap Hell's design language and just sort of where he goes with a lot of his knives.
Yep.
I was waiting on this We Knife Pier for a long time because I was so excited to get it in hand. I knew it was coming. It was coming eventually, and then it finally showed up, and I got it, and I was like, okay. All right, it's nice. I mean, it's well made. It's typical WE quality. It's not a hollow grind. This pivot. I mean, and ultimately, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm not that big a fan. I mean, it's and not in the sense that it's a bad knife, but just that I was like, it's not speaking to me the way I thought it would when I was sort of looking at it and seeing its specs on paper and watching SHOT Show or whatever. But
And that's the flip side to exactly what I just said.
yep, exactly.
You can see a knife and go, okay. And then you get it, and I was like, wow, okay,
Yep.
And it was kind of, the Mini Adamas was kind of that way.
Sure.
Because that's not a me knife.
Yeah, right.
To me, I look at this and I was like, that's a Peter and a therapeutic edge knife.
Yeah, right.
He likes those knives,
Exactly.
That's
exactly
who likes those knives.
Yeah. Well,
and then you get it, and I'm like, okay, this could be a me knife.
Yeah.
It could. And then, like you said, the opposite is like, oh, I can't wait for this knife to come out. And then you get it in your hand, and like, all right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
This will be a good giveaway knife. I mean,
right, exactly.
No, I mean, and there's, we have to get our giveaway knives from somewhere.
That's right.
So, I mean, but somebody will like it.
Yep.
Somebody will like it. And
yep.
And that's all good.
Yeah. And again, that's the fun. I mean, it's like I said, I mean, I gave this knife a pretty good review because I think it's a well-made, well put together knife that does a lot of things right. It just, for me, it didn't speak to me, and I was kind of bummed because I really wanted it to speak to me, and it just kind of didn't. I might have got the wrong colorways and stuff. I went for orange for obvious reasons, orange and black, but that might have been a mistake. I don't know if I'd have gone with a different, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, just it's funny how those things work where it's like, I'd rather just carry my $60 Metamorph
Yeah.
than my, $210 whatever. So yeah, it's funny. It's just kind of funny that way.
Well, and I think, well, I mean, it is. It just, our tastes evolve, they change. And, it could, eh, some people it changes from week to week. But I
Oh, for
think
sure.
there again, that just depends. It's all situational and stuff and environmental or however you want to put it. But,
Sure.
and there's influence.
There is.
There's always outside influence. And
There,
that's the one thing that I think us as reviewers, you know, when you get this knife that's gotten, I watched 10 reviews and the reviews, I mean, they're just rave about it.
right. Everybody said it's magical.
And I get that back to the whole Skyline thing. I got it in hand and I'm like, really?
Yeah, I know.
Maybe I got a bad one. But
Yeah,
then
right.
people were saying, no, that's pretty much what a Skyline's like. I liked the look, the feel, simple blade style. It was all there, but just, I mean, I had to crank the one I had to get it to flip.
Yeah, see, I mean,
And I'm like, well, that's not really fun.
yeah,
I mean, I don't expect, I'm not asking for a miracle here, but I just like to flick it and it would come open.
yeah, right.
It
Yeah,
like half the time it would fail.
I'm not asking for anything, crazy
Yeah,
here.
I'm not asking for the stars here. I just want it to operate like it probably should operate.
Right.
And and I'm like, okay. And I mean, overall, I think my review of it was good because it was a good knife. It was just it didn't flip.
Which does
It's
seem
a
to be
flipper that doesn't flip.
a little bit of a demerit for a knife.
Yeah, I mean, that's its design, right? So I mean, and like I said, that could have been the one I had. I don't know, but
Yeah, no, I know.
people seem to agree with me. So I was like, okay, you know, and that's the same way with the another one. I was really excited about the button lock Elementum.
Right.
I was really excited about it because I did not jump aboard the Elementum train.
Me either. I think it's got to be one of the most boring knives I've ever seen. I mean,
It was
honestly,
in my opinion, it was a
in my
good
opinion,
it was
it's
a
a
good
good.
Civivi knife. In my
Right.
opinion, it was another good Civivi knife.
Yep.
Didn't stand out to me, didn't detract. It was just another good Civivi.
Yep.
And there's
100%.
a lot of them. And there's a lot of them.
100%. Yep, there are.
And so
Yes, there are.
when the button lock came out, I was like, oh, okay. I'm digging a button lock idea and stuff. And I was super, super disappointed that the button was the only means of deployment on that.
Such an odd choice. Such an odd choice.
To me, it was.
Yeah, I know.
And it locks it shut, so you can't even like two-hand.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, you can two-hand open it. You have to hold the button, and but it's like it seemed like a really odd, like you said, an odd choice, an odd way to go with it.
Yeah.
Is it a bad knife? No, I
Yeah.
like the size. I actually like the size and everything about it. Just put a thumb stud on it, man, and I'll buy one. I will have a button lock Elementum in my collection.
Yeah.
That's just me though.
Yep.
But
Well,
it's not just me. It's not just me because
it's not. I mean,
I would say 80% of the
with you.
comments, 80% of the comments that I got were like, wow,
Yep.
And excuse me, that could have been just but because I've watched some other reviews and people are like, well, I could probably get used to it with just the button. Good. And I had those comments where like, oh, this is going to be a great knife no matter what. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I hope you buy one. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
And,
Godspeed.
it's just not for me.
Yeah, no.
Unfortunately, I still won't be adding an Elementum to my collection.
No, and I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I was the same way because I think I'm with you. I was never a huge Elementum guy. I mean, I owned one at one point, but then gave it away. But ultimately, I was like, So I thought, okay, well, I love button locks, so this may get me back into the Elementum.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started watching reviews of it, and I was like, yeah, no, this isn't gonna this isn't gonna work for me. And I was disappointed because there just aren't a lot of button locks out there in general.
Exactly,
And so I
exactly.
was like,
Well,
oh, this is gonna be awesome. And then it just was like,
and I know one of the comments for God is like, well, maybe it was price, maybe it was price. Well, here's an $80 knife that's got 3 different opening methods, and one of them's a button lock. Price has
yeah,
absolutely nothing to do with it.
right.
You know what I mean? It can be done.
It can be done.
And it's just, and I don't know, it's just the way, it's not the way they chose to go, and okay, so be it. I won't have an Elementum yet. It's okay. The fact that I do not have an Elementum in my collection does not mean I don't have a knife in my collection. I've got a couple more that I can use, laying around here somewhere.
There's one or two.
Yeah, there's a couple. So,
right. No, and again, I mean, it's like, I would think I was talking to somebody in the chat the other day about the 940, right? Or whatever variation of the 940 that's out there. That knife has never appealed to me, ever. Aesthetically, just the ones I've handled either, didn't quite have the, sort of that typical gripe that people have with Benchmade around quality control and some of these other things. I mean, you watch some of these channels and, and I don't mean, even just non-knife channels. What's that guy, Wrangler Star, I think is right. Doesn't he have a huge, he's like that homesteader dude.
Wrangle Star.
Wrangle Star.
Whatever it is. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. He's
got a ton of viewers or subscribe, the whole bit, big, huge channel. And for a long time, that was his knife, right? I mean, that was the greatest knife you could get, sort of a thing. And I was like, okay, is it though? I mean, and that's where, and I think at the end of the day, for a lot of us, and it's some of these videos, it's why I kind of, I don't know, calling the knife the greatest this or the greatest that, or the, I mean, it's a little tongue in cheek, and certainly I used it recently when I was describing this Ironfly, when I was sort of the best budget knife you don't own kind of a thing. Sure. And, part of it's just for fun, and, you get, it's a fun title that hopefully draws people in to watch the video. Of course. I also felt like it was kind of it was a statement that I felt was true too, because it was a knife that I really liked, and I thought it was a good deal, and that they just stopped making, and they made, maybe they supposedly will make more, but who knows? And, so yeah, I mean, it's such a personal, the Elementum has its flair and its fan base, but I'm just not one of them, I guess.
The Ironfly, is it Kunwu?
Yeah, it was their Kunwu, and I couldn't. Yeah, it's their I don't know what they were planning to do with it exactly. I think I got a little confused and Sergio and I have talked a little bit about it, and he's been so busy with that Tau that they're working on, which I am very excited for, by the way. Did you get in on that one?
Didn't. I did not get in on Kickstarter. I know. I really wanted to, because I like the Ronin.
Yeah, no,
I really do like the Ronin, and it was one of those, drag your feet. Well, too late. So yeah, I mean, that's the way it was, and unfortunately, you can't buy them all. But
I know. Yeah,
I did. I wanted to, and I screwed up, and I missed it. And
no, it's all right. Well, mine will be on its way to you when you want to see it. But ultimately, it's yeah. I mean, so I wasn't sure what they were doing with the Ironfly. Was it going to be a budget brand? They were really trying to make them, because they're already pushing the value pretty extreme in terms of the Kunwu brand. But I think I paid like $39 or something for this during the Kickstarter campaign. For VG10. It's got an amazing action.
That's VG10.
Yeah.
For $39.
Yeah, it was micarta. It's got this micarta. It's got the
I saw your review on it, and I remember in your review I was like, dang.
Yeah, no, I know. And that was sort of my point of the video, which was like, I wish this was was more out there. And then I worried that I actually ticked off Sergio, because it was like, dude, are you making more of these? Or I can't find any of these online. And I don't know if he was like, yeah, we were hoping that people just wouldn't notice it, and maybe wouldn't make more. I don't know.
Really?
But no, I mean, he didn't say that. I just got the sense that it was like, I think he's been so caught up with, with other stuff he's got going on.
It just fell to the back burner.
A little bit, yeah. I think
Yeah,
it fell on the
yeah.
back burner, which I think again was a shame because I was like, this is a really, really cool knife, and it stands up next to any you know any other budget friend. I mean, it's punches well above its weight, I guess.
Well, if you're talking micarta VG10 and
Wire
in
clip,
that $40 range,
yeah, with an
and
awesome
if
action.
it's with those materials, it's if even remotely a good knife,
Yeah, no, true, fair enough.
you're getting your money's worth out of it.
Yeah, without question, without question. And so again, it was one of those where it's like I just wish people had more access to it because such a cool knife and for the money, and that I think people would enjoy. But and it's a change of pace from Civivi or whatever else that is so ubiquitous nowadays in terms of pumping out models. Although I got to give Civivi, I was kind of off the Civivi train, Civivi, whatever, a little bit, but I think they've come out of the gate hot this year. I mean, they've
Oh,
got some
without a doubt.
really interesting models. The fit and finish seems to be there. I had a couple last year towards the end of the year, well, middle end of the year, that I wasn't super impressed with when I got them. I
Hmm.
felt like quality was maybe slipping a little bit, and actions weren't great. And I had one that came to me with rust in the bearings, and so
Oh,
yeah, no. And then again, I mean, it's not necessarily their fault. I mean, it has to sit on a boat and make its way here from wherever, but it just kind of it didn't quite sit.
not what you would expect.
Not what I was used to. Yeah,
Right. Right.
and even the action, was the detent was weird, and I had more than one in a row where I was kind of like, these aren't awesome. And so I didn't review a number of them, and again, I probably should have, but
Well, let me throw something out there at you, and you tell me what you think about this. Okay,
yeah,
we're talking timing, right?
right.
The timing of when you were seeing this. Do you think that could have had anything to do with the send cuts coming online,
Oh,
and
I in
things just
hindsight,
kind of got a little wonky there for a little bit?
I think in hindsight, that's exactly probably what happened. Yeah,
And
and I
not that I'm saying that's excusable or an excuse or whatever, but just thinking of the timing.
yep. No, I think you're exactly right. And since then, and like I said, they came out of the gate this year. This felt renewed to me in terms of Civivi kind of putting their back into their brand,
Yeah, yeah.
and Civivi, whatever. I mean, it's all the same people, but um, I've got the riffle, on its way, just because everybody's been reviewing it, so I thought I should check it out too. But
I really
um,
like the riffle. I really
yeah, a
did.
lot of people did.
I
Yeah,
did. I like the riffle. And I mean the riffle, the brazen, the keen natter,
yeah,
um, the pintail.
yeah. The pintail, I got that right here.
They're
Yeah,
all I really liked all of those knives.
and to be honest with you, since um, this is the backlash. The backlash was sort of my go-to Civivi for a long time. I didn't bother with a lot. I liked my backlash so much. It
Still
was
one
like
of
I
my
don't know.
favorites.
It's me too, and so
Still one of my favorites. Because it was one of the originals.
it was just well made, and it's got cool
Yep.
design and fits my hand well. And then when I got the brazen, I was like, wow, I may like the brazen even with a Tanto better than my old trusty backlash. And it certainly was, I think, the first Civivi probably since the backlash that I was like, yeah, I like this knife. I would keep this knife. I mean, I've got the pintail here, which is cool. It's a little weirdly a little small for me personally, I think actually. I feel like I've got other knives that kind of fit that niche, but yeah, no. So I'm excited. I'm excited to check the riffle out because I want to see if it keeps up with the same,
And
quality.
the riffle kind of gets me where I was a big fan of the shredder
Hmm, hmm.
because it sort of not really reminded me of the backlash,
Right? Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
yeah.
But
No,
and it
well, I mean,
probably
they're
doesn't, but
knives.
that's okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it had the big hole, and
yeah.
a lot of people didn't like that.
Hmm.
I liked it because I could spidey flick it.
Yep, yep.
It was the easiest knife. That knife taught me how to spidey flick.
Yeah,
It
that's
did.
fun.
It
Yeah,
did.
that's fun.
I'm not gonna lie. That knife taught me how to spidey flick. And okay, taught me how to spidey flick as well as I can spidey flick now, which isn't
Yeah,
that
no, tell me
great,
about it. Yeah, trust me, I'm not.
but that's why I like it because it helped me. Uh, I don't know. It just helped me grow in my knife world, you know,
Yeah.
it just did.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
And that's kind of, I think that kind of is why I like the riffle, because it kind of reminded me of the shredder. I mean, it's a good knife to me. I like it. Um, and I've seen it. As a matter of fact, I have one of the Navy guys that I work with. I did my review of the riffle, and then like a week later, we're down working, and I see him playing with his riffle. I'm like, so you like that one, huh? He's like, oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. You know, so I was like, all right, good, 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 good.
Yeah, no,
So
I mean, yeah, it's funny. I mean, yeah, people are swearing by it. I mean, and I'm with you. I mean, there were a couple. I mean, I think it had another name, but I had one at one point called the Vexer. Remember the Vexer? But I
Vexer,
think, yeah, but
Vexer,
it had a different name. It or
Vexer,
it gets confused with there's two.
Vexer.
Yeah,
Oh
Civivi
man,
Vexer. It was a big one. It was a big knife.
Civivi?
Yeah, it was Civivi.
That's not.
Um,
Wow, that's not.
I know
I,
it kind of flew under the radar a little bit. It wasn't there weren't a ton of reviews on it. I think Love Them Knives did one, and then I checked it out after that, and then I ended up doing a review, but I liked it a lot. I gave it
well,
away at the end.
where's that knife been?
I know, funky,
I
right?
like the looks of it.
I know, and it just sort of went.
What the?
I gave it away only because it was too. It was just bigger than I generated. It's a kind of a big one.
Is
It was
it?
too big. Yeah, it was just bigger than I. But
Dude, I like the looks of that.
I know it's
Where,
kind of.
man? Well, okay. Is this when Civivi would dump like 10 models on us at once?
That's the point. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like,
and that's
and
the thing.
they all were a little homage of each other, right? I mean, you know, there were so many versions of themselves within their own knives that it was like, okay, how many of these can I even focus on them?
That's the one thing that aggravates me out of Civivi. It's like, I can't keep up, guys. Come on.
Well, no, and that's where, you know, between the brazen, the riffle, and the keen natter, I was like, those are all three different looking knives. Like these are three unique, distinct looking new Civivis that I was like, this is cool. This doesn't feel like another iteration of the backlash,
Right,
right?
right,
Which I feel like, or the Praxis or whatever it is,
right.
you know, that they sort of got them out of the gate. But so that's why I was pleased to see this year. Like, I'm honestly, I probably wouldn't have picked up. Um, well, either the brazen or the riffle, if I wasn't feeling like they were trying to do a little renew. And again, I think you're really astute. I mean, I think the ultimate how Sencut plays into that, or that brand, their next sub brand plays into that. Refreshed, you know, I don't know,
And
because
I'm
even some
still
of
a
the
little confused how that's
Sencut
supposed to
stuff,
work.
what's that?
I'm still a little confused on how that's going to work.
To be honest with you, I mean, so I've got my
The
review.
Sencut, the Civivi, the, you know, I've heard some things about Wii that are pretty interesting. And I don't know, you know, they might, I'm sure there's people out there that know a lot more about it than I do. But it almost sounds like Civivi's basically going to become Wii,
Yeah,
and Sencut's going to become Civivi.
yeah.
And it might sound like Wii just might be more OEM type stuff.
I've heard similar things, and to be honest with you, it feels like that might be the direction they're going. And you know, maybe that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I think they've got some intense competition that they didn't always have. You know, I mean, I think Best Tech and CJRB, Artisan, I mean, have stepped it up to the point where, when QSP, I mean, I think they're not such a standout anymore that they used to be. I think in some level.
Right.
And Wii itself, I mean, Wii knives, I don't know. I mean, I've owned Wii knives, and I do own a couple of them, but it felt like they just were not paying a lot of attention to that brand, that part of the brand, sort of the mother brand, and that they were putting so much effort into the Civivi line, and then now with the Sencut, which honestly, I mean, you know, so you loaned me those Sencuts, and I did my review, and I haven't posted it yet. But part of what I say in that review, it's like, I'm with you. I don't understand what this is. Like, what's the point of this?
Well,
Like,
I
why?
mean,
Because it's all. I mean, because they're, I mean, arguably, yeah, they're a little plainer. They don't quite look as.
right.
They're essentially just. I mean, they're Civivis. I mean, or they're Wii's, or whatever you want to call them.
Well, the first two, without a doubt. The
Yeah, yeah,
Actium, the Actium
yeah,
is a backlash.
yeah, for sure.
And
100%.
the Sidious is a flipper fracture.
Yep. 100%.
That's what they are. That's what they
Yeah,
are.
totally.
And I mean, there's subtle differences, yes, but I mean, you could trust me, very heavily influenced.
100%.
And okay, and that's
again,
fine.
begs the question, what's the point?
Well, a little bit, yeah, because all right, we already have a backlash, and the backlash is a great knife.
Right.
But
I mean, and I kind of feel like I feel more inclined to, like, I think that's one of the things I appreciate about the differences between Artisan and CJRB is they feel like very distinct brands within the same family, right?
yeah,
CJRB, that, you know, yeah, every once in a while there's a CJRB that looks like one of their higher end Artisans or something like that, but by and large, they keep their models separate, right? I mean, or that you know, you can, they're just different enough to different enough that they feel, you don't feel like you're just getting the same thing. And that's kind of where I'm like, why am I paying for it? And then again, the Sen cuts were coming out for so much cheaper, and then they come out with a brazen, and the brazen was like $38 or $40 or whatever it was. And
exactly.
I'm like, well, isn't that where the Sen cut models were supposed to be?
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I thought these were supposed to be, you know,
and that's what I thought it was. Okay, maybe because Civivi, you know, they started going with the S35s and some 14Cs, and I'm like, okay,
right.
they're
When
going
you
to
had
step up.
yeah, the Damascus, and
Right.
you know,
Okay, they're stepping up Civivi's blade steels, and then Sencut's going to take over the 9CR and the D2. Okay, that's
yeah,
cool.
but they didn't do that.
No, look at how many of these new Civivi models came out in D2.
Yeah, this one's D2. Is the Riffle D2 or is it 9CR? I forget.
I had the Damascus, so I don't know. The
Okay.
Riffle is.
I just ordered it. I should.
I think it's D2, isn't it?
I think it's D2 also.
What is it? Well, let's find out.
I mean, put some VG10 out there. Or I don't know. Anything.
I would love VG10 myself, but
no, I actually like VG10 as well. I think it gets a bad knock, personally.
Let's see. The Riffle. I think it's D2. I gotta look. That's Damascus. No, it's 14C. It is 14C.
Oh, it is. Oh, you're right. It is 14C.
And that's that micarta one. That one looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the one? Which one did you get?
Yeah, I got the brown micarta.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah. Even that one though, I thought has a little bit of feel to some of their Isham designs. Doesn't it look a little Isham-y to you?
No.
You don't think so?
Dude, okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Isham. I'm sorry, Mr. Isham. I'll put this right out there. I am not a fan of Elijah Isham's designs. I'm just not. They don't.
Well, some of them, but I mean, like the McKenna and some of his more subdued designs, but just with like that angular, triangular thumb hole kind of.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that. Yeah.
That's where I think I was seeing.
I got you. I'll give you that. Yeah.
I was seeing, but no, I'm with you too. I go back and forth on his stuff, to be honest with you. By and large, it doesn't do much for me. And
it's just not what grabs my eye. Again, you know, plenty of people like them.
Yeah,
it's just
it starts to blend more into art than it does into. It's a little more arty than I'm normally.
Yeah, and I don't think that's and I don't think and trust me, I don't believe you're saying that in a bad way. It's just
I'm not at all.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it's just, I mean, well, and some of it too is just, again, like the Arrakis or some of those, they're just not my style.
No, there again, it goes back to simple grabs my eye. His designs are not simple by any means.
No,
because that's not his design style.
Nope. Right.
So yeah, and it's 14C. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking, well, there again, they put so darn many of them out. It's hard to keep up.
No, yeah, and like you said,
it is for me. I mean, it might not be for normal people, but it is for me.
Yeah, me too. Well, and at the end of the day, I mean, like you said, I'm just sort of confounded by the whole. Just pick a brand. Just decide what you're going to make and make them, instead of doing this weird, 57 different brands. I
tell you what, we've thrown the QSP name out there a bit, and QSP built David's Solaris,
Right.
We looked at the Penguin. QSP has done an absolutely amazing job on the Finch knives, in my opinion.
I would
Um,
agree. I think they're
um,
very, yep, I would agree.
but I tell you what, have you seen, or are you signed up to see the Legatus that's in the pass around group?
No.
Dude,
Actually,
you might want to. And this is just completely, I don't know. I think you would like it. I can't, it seems to me like it might be a knife you would like. It might not be. I don't know, but I think it is.
I gotta check it out. The name. I feel like I've seen the name sounds familiar, but I don't know if I remember what it actually looks like.
Because I'm the type of guy, I don't, well, I just bought these two. I typically don't, I don't spend more than a couple $100 on a knife.
Right.
That's just me. That's how I'm wired. I just whatever. It's just me. Simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yep.
That one's pushing 300.
Yeah, that's a lot. Oh, that is okay. I do remember that. That's why.
That's the first knife.
That's
the first knife, other than this one, because this one's a discontinued model and I'll never see it again.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first knife in a long time that I got my hands on, and I was like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe I better get on the list for
And
that
it was a combination of things. It was the build quality, the kind of distressed, because it's carbon fiber over red G10, and it's kind of got that distressed look to it.
Yep. Yeah, that's
really
right.
like that. I really like, and it, gosh, my review that might be coming out early this week. I don't think it's posted yet. I think it's coming out early this week. Yeah, it'll post tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
The Legatus. And I say something in that review that's probably going to get me all sorts of crap. But that's okay. That's okay. I mean, it's my opinion. And that's what it is, Whether you agree or disagree, it's my opinion, so I'm not wrong.
It's your opinion and your channel. You say whatever you want.
Right. But to me, I've held a few Riot knives. To me, this knife feels just as good as any Riot knife I've felt.
Oh, really?
Yes, to me.
Okay.
To me. I have to qualify it. Might not to you, might not to anybody else, but to me, I was in love with it. I was in love with that knife.
It's that good. Okay. All right.
Don't.
Yeah.
People are going to be. I'm probably going to catch grief for it.
Man, I need to get on the list. Now I'm intrigued. I got to get on the list with this one and figure out.
I'm probably going to get grief for what I said, but there again, it's my opinion. And it really did. It really felt that good to me.
Wow. That's amazing. That's cool.
And to me, that speaks a lot for QSP.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I've heard a lot of good things about QSP. I've heard they're good to deal with. They treat people well. They're good to reviewers in general. I mean, I don't have anything one way or another. Again, I think it's one of those where it was trying to get a little more familiar with their brand and because like you said, I mean, my first real interaction with QSP, I bought a Nokomis way back in the day, which I did not like at all. And so I just, didn't bother with it. And I kind of just chalked them up to, oh, here's another brand that, yada, yada. But then the Finch knives, and I was like, wow, they're really doing some good work with these Finch knives.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so I decided to kind of give them another look. And then, so I picked up this Hawk, which I ended up liking quite a bit. Particularly just the micarta is beautiful on it. But, like I said, this Penguin, I don't know how much I kind of like it, but again, $25 kind of hard to argue with. But yeah, so I mean, I'm intrigued to see if they've got a real high dollar one, what they're able to pull together.
Yeah, like I said, there's not a knife that I just get in hand and I would say, okay, I could really see spending that much. That's just me. Like I said, that's the way I'm. Now, when I picked up this Going Gear, there was a reason I got it. It's a 940. It's a red exclusive. Come on. I mean, that just pretty much. Yeah. That just says me,
940. Sorry about that.
I know. No worries. That's just there again, I could babble all day about it, and you're like, you know,
Well, it's taste. It's who
exactly. It's what
you
we
like.
like and what we don't like.
You like what you like. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is a cool looking knife, though. By the way, regardless, I think it looks pretty good with that red.
Oh, that red C-Tech. I like the way that looks, but
Yeah,
I know normally I probably wouldn't have bought it, but it's an exclusive. It's gone, and I was like, well, if I really want to add one of these to my collection,
yeah.
today
Now,
is the day.
yep. No, I hear you.
And I'm like, I mean, trust me, I hem and hawed about it. And I'm like, well, okay. And I was like, at the end of the day, yeah, let's do it.
Well, so I got in. I've got my first, I guess technically it's my first custom folder happening. So I don't have it with me. It's actually, I left it in the car. That's bad. My Booze Blades Mini Smoke, which is one of my all-time favorite knives. I love that knife. And I chat with, kind of off and on with William Boos over on his Instagram. He's a cool guy. He's very friendly, nice guy. And I've always liked his design aesthetic. But he decided to do some all in-house, fully customed arrows, AERO. And I was like, I gotta have one of these. I gotta have one. So he did an initial batch of 10, and I got in on that. And
nice.
I know, I'm so excited. I think he said, I talked to him, it was Friday, I guess. And he mentioned that I think they may be maybe a week or two out at this point. So he's getting pretty darn close. And yeah, I'm stoked. Not only I'm stoked because one, it's sort of my first, well, it is kind of my first custom folder, but also I just love that. I love that design aesthetic. So like you're talking about, it's one of his designs totally speak to me, and I'm just super excited to get it.
I'm excited for you, man. I can't wait for you to get it and see it.
No,
That's awesome, man.
That'll be
awesome.
that'll be a fun one. Definitely a fun one. So
very cool. Holy cow. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, so
and it feels good, doesn't it?
It does. It does actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like it was one of those where it was like, I gotta have that.
Sure.
It's like I want one of these bad, and I hadn't really had one of those kind of feelings in a while in terms of knives. And I'm not used to spending that kind of money on a knife. I mean, I think that's another. I had to do a big gulp on that, but
yeah, I get it.
And I don't think it's something I will do very often. I don't think I'm necessarily going to be into the custom world or anything like that.
No, it's. Well, and I mean, okay, I say that now, but then again, we did say that our tastes evolve, so
Sure.
But it could happen, sure, okay,
right, yeah. I mean,
do I see it happen at this point? No,
I don't plan to become a Tony Meador anytime soon, but although
I wished I could be.
He's a cool guy on top of that, but yeah, no, I think ultimately it's one of those where I saw it and I was like, that's it. I gotta do this. This is just, I mean, I don't think I moved that fast on Instagram in a long time to DM him and say, get me on this list. I got to get on this list.
That's good though.
Yeah, no, it was cool. So
that's fantastic. Excited. Oh yeah, like I said, man, I'm happy for you. That's awesome.
No,
man.
Thanks. Yeah, that'll be fun. So
very good. Yeah. Dude, do you realize we've been doing this for 2 hours?
I know. I just glanced at my watch. I think actually
I cannot believe that.
My wife, I think, just texted me, was like, are you still in there?
Are you alive?
Are you talking to somebody?
Are you alive in there?
Yeah, no, I know. This is
exactly what I wanted to do. This is exactly what I wanted to do.
And even if nobody listens to it, it was worth it just to chat with you.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. That's exactly, like I said, this is what I wanted to do. I just wanted to sit down and talk knives, and we'll probably wrap it up here, but I tell you what.
Yeah.
I got to ask you a question.
Okay, please.
Before we wrap up, I'll ask you one question here.
Okay.
If there's something other than the Tony Meador coming.
Okay.
Is there anything out there right now that's coming out that you're like, okay, I really, really want to see this?
That's a good question. Let me think.
And I hate to put you on the spot.
No, it's
fair. And if there isn't, that's fine. The answer can be no, not really. And trust me, I get it, because we're so inundated a lot of times.
That's fair. So I'm thinking here. So I know for a fact, now this isn't a folder, and it is again more on the custom side, but the Mr. Wirtz, our boy Randy over there,
Yeah. Yes,
is
sir.
working on a small version of the Falcon here,
Is he
called the,
really?
yeah,
Nice.
called the Pygmy. And I think it's, yeah, it's supposed, it's, much more. So I actually am really interested to kind of check one of those out, because I think that might feel a little more in my wheelhouse in terms of, this is just a bit big for me in terms of an EDC fixed blade.
I
I
see.
love
Yeah,
this.
I get what I see. I can see
I mean,
that.
and I
Yep.
love it. This is a gorgeous knife. I mean,
It
it's just,
is. It
it's
is
amazing.
without a doubt.
I mean, in my opinion, but and he's a cool guy, and I really enjoy him.
Oh,
But
he's very good to talk to, and
he's a
yeah,
class act.
without a doubt.
Yeah, but yeah. So that one, I'm definitely the Pygmy. I'm definitely interested in. I'm kind of going through. Let me go through my brands here. If there was anything else. I was really interested in that Kaiser Deviant. Was
Okay.
something I was, but I saw a review on that. I think Stasa 23 did one, and it kind of turned me off. So
Okay.
that kind
Okay.
of was one of those reviews. Other than that, I don't think so. I think at this point, I don't know that I can give you an honest. How about you? Is there something you're got your eye on?
Well, I'm gonna be pretty. I guess I'm pretty transparent, but I am. I am just waiting for the next Finch knife to drop. I'll be
Okay.
perfectly honest with you. I am
The Lucky
so
13.
that one's coming. Got man, they've got the cherry bomb, they've got the
Oh yeah, that's.
drifter,
I
they've
know.
got the lucky 13, they've got the devil's finger that they have got a lot of knives that they're prototyping. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't care which one it is. I'll be no, I do like the devil's finger, that one, because that one's in red micarta. So that one
Yeah,
has a
yeah,
little that has a little special place to me. But no, I just want the next one to drop,
yeah. Mm.
because I well, I said they were my best new small knife company of 2020, and I wholeheartedly meant that. And they were probably my favorite knife company of 2020, period.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah,
because I love what they're doing. They have a style all their own.
they do.
They're putting that blend of modern and traditional together, and they
That's
do
true.
it so well, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And I think it's pretty obvious that that's my opinion, but anyway, I'll just qualify it. But
No,
yeah,
no, that's
I
yeah.
really, really do. I have enjoyed every single knife that they've put out.
No, I've seen that. I've listened to you. I mean, you genuinely have every review I've watched. I'm like, yo, he likes that knife.
Yeah, and that's just, and it's not only the knife. It's more than just the knife. It's the people behind the knife, the inspiration for the knife.
Yep.
That has something to do with it.
No, I can totally get that. I mean, they're incredibly friendly to deal with. I mean, actually, that reminds me. Now that you mention it, I'm dying. I really want to get a. Um, I missed out on the batch he did recently, but the American Blade Works version 5 of his Model 1.
Good
Um,
knife. Good
definitely
good
have been.
knife. I
Have you
enjoyed that
checked?
knife quite a bit.
Yeah, that V5.
Yes.
I want to get my hands on one of those. So
Yep.
I liked the 3 I had, or the 4. I forget which one I
The
had. It.
4. Well, wait a minute. No, I had the 4, and there's just some minor tweaks from the 4 to the 5. My apologies.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
really like the 4.
Yes, yes, and I think he's made the action a bit crisper
And
on
I
the
think he
5.
shaved down the flipper tab a little bit.
Yes, he did. He also did that. Agreed.
So
Um,
I apologize. I had the version
no,
4,
no, no,
not the version 5.
no.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's. I just think that's some. I mean, essentially, it's a custom knife for all intent and purpose. But
well,
apart from that,
yeah.
I mean, you don't order it necessarily the same way you would a custom knife, but he makes it all. I mean, all of it's him. It's all Michael. But um,
Would that be better termed as a mid tech?
It's funny you say that. I'm not, mid-tech feels like such a weird term nowadays. I feel
It
like
does
that
to me too. Yeah.
I feel like there was a time when mid-tech was more, it's almost like, you would call this a mid-tech, right? I mean, that there was a time when this was a mid-tech, that it was, Brian Nadeau designed it. He handled all of the, certain pieces, but that ultimately it was, built by somebody else. I mean,
Right.
and
Right.
I think now I think we see them more as they're just production collaborations or whatever. But
Right.
and mid-tech seems to have kind of faded away. But apart, I mean, I think he makes everything except the screws.
I
So I
think
mean,
I'm pretty sure he does.
right. So I mean, for all intent and purpose, yeah. I mean, I get
It
what you're
is.
saying.
It's
It's
a.
not. It's
It's
not
a. It's not a custom.
right. It's not a custom, but it is
It's as close as you're gonna get.
and for the value on those things,
Exactly.
$185
Exactly.
or whatever he charges for them. I'm like,
Yeah.
how those have not blown up, I don't know. And maybe they have. I just don't, because it's really,
Well,
but
I'll throw a little bit out there. Availability,
yeah, fair enough.
because I
Yeah,
mean it is just him.
right. I mean, he can only pump out as many as he can do.
Exactly. And I think that probably plays into it a little bit.
Yeah,
But because I know when I was reviewing the one I had from the pass around,
yeah,
you'd go on the website and he had, I don't know, there was quite a few. He had quite a few different models on
yeah.
there,
He does. Yeah.
but only like a couple of them were available.
Yep.
So I think that probably plays into it. Just my thought, but it's a really good knife, without a
Yeah. Well,
doubt.
and just with all the talk people have on, it's craving American-made knives and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I think, man, for the price for what you're getting there, it's hard to argue with. That's a
Yeah,
cool. That's definitely one I've got my eye on.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Other than that, I don't, I don't know that I'm craving anything necessarily. Just kind of
Well,
watching, just kind of watching.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we can do at this point. Like I said, we're inundated. There's so many models coming out, and I don't think Civivi's going to stop anytime soon, which that's great. I don't think
No,
anybody's going to stop anytime soon, and
no, no, and it'll
that's
be
the fun
interesting
of
to
it.
see. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, what comes out of Blade Show and what folks are. I feel like that'll be a bit more. I'll feel more renewed because that was sort of lost this last year
It
in terms
was,
of.
without a doubt, it was.
Right. And so there was, yeah, you could look through catalogs and this and that, but I feel like even a lot of the designers didn't, or the companies didn't go out on a huge limb on a lot of knives.
No,
They,
no.
they were pretty low key as well. So it'll
Yeah,
be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they really come out swinging in with Blade Show and some of these other things. And Kaiser's a brand. I know whatever. People have different views of Kaiser. Kaiser was one of the first when I first started buying nicer knives, quote unquote.
hmm,
Um, Kaiser was that company I went into, and
sure.
so I've always got a soft spot for. I love Kaiser kind of deep down. I know that they've changed a lot as a company over time, but I feel like they're coming back.
To me,
um,
Kaiser and ZT kind of play that same role.
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah,
To me they do, because ZT was hot and heavy for a while, Kaiser was hot and heavy for a while, and then
yeah.
they both just kind of,
I haven't seen anything new out of ZT for ever.
well, they did this 0707.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
And I really did like the 0707 because it was that, there again, it was that slim and slender. I was never big on the big chunky,
Yeah. Like
the
yeah. No, I
the
don't.
ones that Peter likes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just wasn't my thing. But
Yeah.
they're starting to, now Kaiser's starting to come back again, and well, I think Kim Ning leaving Kaiser had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I do too. Well, and yeah, I mean, and concept is a whole nother,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, interesting. Actually, I've got an interesting one coming in the mail. Should be here. I think it should be here Monday or Tuesday. That I just picked up. It was a little pricier than I wanted to pay but I got it from White Mountain Knives, called the Lucky Star, the concept Lucky Star.
I'm
And
not familiar with that one.
I was not either. I have not seen any reviews on it, and I've only seen it available for purchase from White Mountain from White Mountain Knives. So yeah, check it out when you get a chance. It's interesting looking. It's kind of in my profile of slender, stabby kind of knives, but um, yeah. So I'm excited to check that one out. It'll be the first concept I think that I've featured here on the
Lucky
channel.
Star, right?
Yeah, the Lucky Star concept, Lucky Star.
All right, let's see what we got here. White Mountain knives. I'm gonna look at it real quick.
Yeah, check it out.
Okay. Now, sorry, I said that awfully quick, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry. Now,
I'm
see,
trying not to be offended.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
But that is one of those, like you with the 940.
Yes.
That's one of those knives that I would look at and I'm go, one, it's okay. It's a Tanto. It's not my preferred blade style.
Well, me either.
I know, and I'm probably being unfair, but just feel like on initial glance,
it's got a little bit of this DNA. I mean, I know it's not the same designer or anything, but there's a little bit of this going on, which I like.
It is, yeah, it actually is for sure.
While we're talking on that, just real quick, that prickle, yeah. Okay, no offense, but.
Well, okay, yeah, I got you. I hear what
you know what I'm saying there.
And I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I don't normally throw that card out there, but
well, there's been a little bit of that going on.
Indeed, there has.
There has been a little bit of that going on, and it's kind of surprising. More than normal. And it kind of surprises me that nobody really says anything about it.
Yeah, I feel like that was a bigger thing back, I don't know, a while ago. But yeah, that one definitely caught me. I was like, whoa, okay, that's
yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing.
Yeah.
It's
All right. Well, here's the thing then. So I'm gonna get this lucky star.
Okay.
And I'm gonna check it out, and then I'll review it. And then it's on its way to you.
Oh, okay.
I want to hear
some. It may be the banter effect. That's what I started calling that, was the banter effect.
Yeah, right. We'll find out.
That's what for me, that's what I call it. It's the banter effect. It's a knife that I look at and go, and then I get it in hand and I'm like, okay, all right.
Well, it very much could be one that I was like, I want to get it in hand, then I'll get it and be like, but we'll find out. But what's coming to you next then? So that'll be a fun one to see what each of us think.
You stormtroopered on me again.
Oh my gosh! Well, maybe that means we must end this.
All right. I don't want to, because I want to keep talking to the stormtrooper, but okay. All right, man. Well, I tell you what, brother. Thank you very, very much for doing this. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And
thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, I think we might have to. We definitely do. We need to meet up. I'll come down to Cabela's this time.
Let's chat offline. I've been thinking it's about time for another rendezvous. Thanks, man.
All right. Bye, bud.